Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Ariel Helwani Show!
Back in your life on this Tuesday, March 18, 2025. I don't know what that was. Hello again, everyone. I sure hope you're doing well. Ooh, some weird, look at that. You see that right there? That's a weird shadow. It almost looks like it's on purpose, right?
It is on purpose.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's great to be back for another edition of the program. Happy to be here. Much to discuss as we inch closer to the UFC's return to London town. The O2 has hosted its fair share of great events. I like the one on Saturday. I like the main event very much. And today we'll focus on two of the big fights on the card. Back into the program, the last Pirate, Morgan Charriere. He joins us at 2:30. He's going up against Nathaniel Wood. It's a former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion going up against a former Cage Warriors featherweight champion. It's England versus France. And Charriere, I'd say one of the more popular fighters coming out of Europe, certainly one of the most popular coming out of France, and one of those guys who has done a tremendous job of building up his profile without the UFC. We've had him on the show before, talked about the reality show and the gamer who he helped get into shape and all this stuff. We don't need to get into all of that, but he's done a great job, and a lot of these French fighters, like Cedric Doumbé, like Cyril Gane, like Benoit Saint-Denis, like Morgan, do a really good job of that. So looking forward to seeing him back in action, and we'll talk to him at 2:30. At 2 o'clock, the tarantula, Jalin Turner, will stop by. And you'll recall last weekend, not this past weekend, 2 weekends ago, he suddenly and somewhat shockingly, surprisingly announced his retirement. Just 29 years young, lost to Ignacio Bahamondes. And obviously we saw him at 300, lost on that card as well, was once considered a top 10 lightweight, certainly a surging prospect in the most stacked weight class in the UFC, and now all of a sudden he's done. And so we'll talk to him about this decision, where he goes from here, all that and more. Jalin Turner will stop by at 2. And one of our favorites, longtime friend of the program, Gunnar Nelson, returns. And he returns to the program ahead of his fight on Saturday against Kevin Holland, which will be 2 years. In fact, today is 2 years to the day of his last fight. He fights once a year, once every 2 years, but he's still kicking it 13 years later in the UFC. The great Gunnar Nelson, the pride of Iceland, will join us. Looking forward to having him on the program very much, as always. So there you go. Much to discuss, as always. In fact, some breaking news this morning.
It is not working.
Okay. Nothing's working, but everything's working. Dun, 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 dun. We actually did it in our rehearsal, and it was working.
Working out the kinks.
Yeah, working out the kinks. Thumbs up to the chat, thumbs up to the chat. Last week when we had Lou DiBella in studio, he had mentioned something about MVP, Most Valuable Promotions, really getting into women's boxing and trying to corner that market, which I think is a very smart play. Well, this morning we found out that they have signed one of the very best female boxers on the planet, the undisputed super featherweight champion, the one and only Alycia Baumgardner. And they had a great little promo video. Here it is. We can't play the audio because there's some music, but it's featuring Jake Paul. It's featuring Amanda Serrano. She's one of the best fighters in the world. She has had issues which have derailed her career a little bit regarding performance enhancers. She was very active up until 2023, but then was gone for a year, a little over a year, some 14, 15 months. Had a fight this past September against Delphine Persoon that no one watched, if we're being 100% honest. And now here she is teaming up with these individuals. And I think it's a very smart play to corner the market. If this is, in fact, what they are doing. Of course, they have this card coming up on July 11th in New York City, all-female card. You would think she's a shoo-in for that as well. There's been some talk about her versus Sky Nicholson. There's been some talk about her versus Amanda Serrano, who is sitting right next to her. Serrano, a featherweight champion. She's a super featherweight, so that would be 126 to 130. And there's some big fights for her. She has that it factor. She is someone who has definite star potential. And so they have signed her. And we'll talk more about that signing with Ariel Helwani at 5 o'clock Eastern on the DAZN Boxing YouTube channel. You know we like to play 2 on Tuesdays, and we've got 3 guests on that show as well. So a lot to talk about and a lot of people to talk to on this Tuesday, March 18th. Yes, 5 p.m. Eastern here on the East Coast of the United States, 2 p.m. on the West Coast, but that show is, at least for the next couple of weeks, airing live at 9 p.m. Eastern. No, not Eastern. 9 p.m. BST, or maybe it's GMT. I can never quite get that right. 9 p.m. in the UK and Ireland, because they haven't moved their clocks forward just yet. They do that on the 30th of March, I do believe, for some strange reason. I still am not quite sure why, but just a couple more weeks. Oh, there it is. Okay, is there more breaking news?
The breaking news is that the breaking news is working again.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Well, welcome to the party. Welcome to the dance. Welcome to the show. Let's get into some stuff that happened yesterday, because I feel like we were reacting in real time, but now that the story has come and gone, let us fully break down what transpired yesterday in Washington, D.C., because it was somewhat of a surreal situation. I think we kind of just take these things for granted now, because MMA and politics in particular have become so intertwined. There is no other sport on the planet, basketball, football, baseball, world football, boxing. There is no sport that is more intertwined with politics these days than mixed martial arts. That is undeniable. And there we were yesterday on St. Patrick's Day, and it's Conor McGregor, of all people, holding court at the White House. By the way, I learned something earlier today, and is Pizzi here? Pizzi, top of the morning to you. Did you happen to know that originally Ireland was associated with the color blue, not green, and then over time it changed to green because of all the lavish greenery and trees and agriculture in the country? Did you know this?
Yeah. On air, Jordan told me 7 minutes ago.
Damn it!
This is a pisser fact. This is one you learned at the urn.
It was in the thing. It was in the bathroom. I saw.
No, did not know that.
Wow.
Funnily enough, I wasn't around back then. But since I was born, it's been fucking green.
Yeah.
Ariel, that's all I'm going to say to you, all right, mate? That's all I know. That's the world I live in. Looking forward to break down yesterday's White House visit. Very excited for the conversation that's about to unfold.
PC?
Yeah, what's going on? What's happening? Is everything okay? Something seems a little bit different.
You look a bit
I
sweaty.
kind of shaved. No, I think I just moisturized. I was in the back garden. As I said, we have an operation going here in the back garden. Me and my old lad out there fucking cutting down trees all day. Then I'm like,
you're doing it yourself. You didn't hire someone.
No way. You don't do that here. It's like my family would disown me if I didn't do this myself. We had them all over here on Saturday. Now I'm doing it while everyone else is at work. So I had to wash myself so I'd be presentable, and I feel like the cream just hasn't really soaked into my porcelain skin just yet.
When they came over on Saturday, did they make fun of the state of the yard, and that's why you're doing it today?
I was just like, can we just pay someone? Like, I'll pay someone to do this. And they're like, yeah, the amount of money that would cost you. And they all just start working diligently. So I was like, all right,
Can we get a before and after picture?
Right now it looks like.
Well, can we get at least a before? Did you take a?
I don't think so. No, we had when we bought this house, and I had a playhouse down the back of it, and it actually turned into a cat brothel. It was just a flop house for all the local
cats. These are terms
cats.
I don't. Did you say a pie house?
A playhouse.
A playhouse, and then it became a what?
Cat brothel.
A flop house. Yeah, cat brothel. Yeah. So we had this. There's a cat next door who beat the shit out of my dog the day we moved in, and he's going to control the block. He was like the bottom bitch of the brothel. He'd just stay out there, like, come on in. Then the fluffy cat from down the road would come in. He was a big customer, dude. He would be there all day. Then we'd have dudes hanging out on the roof of the thing.
Now we see what Cardi was talking about. Yeah, it is pretty rough there, huh?
Yeah, and then like since we knocked it down Saturday. Me and my dad, and my brother, and since then, you can see the cats kind of rolling into the garden, looking at it going, what the fuck? So they're trying to get it into my shed now as an alternate flop house. So God bless them.
A bit of color, I feel like, as well. A little tan.
Maybe. It was not very sunny today, though. It's still Ireland. Very, very mid-weather, I believe.
You got that glisten like you worked in the yard all day and then took a shower, but you still have the residual sweat from being hot all day. Throwing the polo
Yeah.
too. Love it. Respect.
Yeah, the polo. This is
Again,
a good look.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Nah,
What?
don't get used to it, boys.
Wow.
Internet's a little choppy.
That never
You may have
happened.
cut an internet cord when we
Oh,
were doing the
dear.
work in the garden out there.
All right. Well, let's get into it because we're.
Listen, I come on for the sound check today, and they're like, nothing is working, Pizzi. Just to let you know. So, is it my fault or is it
Best
your
part about
fault?
all that
That's
from
what I'd
Pizzi is
ask.
that we found out his dog got the shit beat out of him by a cat.
Reggie just took it, man. He's like,
what
what
is
the fuck
happening
is that
to your
happening?"
audio? Holy shit! Your audio
no
is
idea.
fucked. It's like you're an old kung fu movie. The sound is not matching the mouth moving. Okay, let's get into it. I want to go through the timeline here. Okay, so we wake up and we are greeted to this video here of Conor McGregor walking out on the.
Happy Paddy's Day, America!
So this is like the official. I feel like that's the shot where President Trump greets all the dignitaries. I don't know what that building was, but that's kind of how the day starts. We then move along, and we start to see that Conor McGregor is all over the White House. There's the infamous photo right there. Shout out to DJT. Shout out to JD. Look at the paws. The paws look fantastic. Then we move along to the White House press briefing room, I do believe.
Hey, Connor, first of all, did you get into some time with President Trump? And also, I know there's some Irish immigrants in the U.S. without status. What do you think should happen to them?
The Irish
There's
immigrants.
some recent Irish immigrants without legal status.
Wait, are we taking...
There's some trade disputes between the U.S. and the EU, and what do you think?
We wish exemption.
Hey, we actually have some stuff that we have to do right now.
I will say, Connor is here to meet with the president. He'll be meeting with him later this afternoon. We couldn't think of a better guest to have with us on St. Patrick's Day. We're both wearing our green. This was not planned, but very festive. And as you know, I'll be having a briefing later at 1 o'clock, so we'll talk more about their meeting later. But he's going over to meet with some other administration officials. He's spending...
Okay, so the woman sitting or standing next to him is the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. And like I said, surreal because it's an MMA fighter and it's Conor McGregor in particular up there in that very familiar setting with the C-SPAN logo holding court, and all of a sudden what seemed to have been just kind of like a photo op turns into an impromptu press conference where they're not asking him, when are you fighting again? Or who do you want to fight? The typical stuff. They're asking him about real life issues. Now, PT, correct me if I'm wrong, historically, and how do you pronounce the prime minister's name title in Gaelic? It's
Taoiseach.
Say it.
Taoiseach.
Taoiseach, which is that
Head of state. Head of state.
head of state. Historically, correct me if I'm wrong, the Taoiseach visits the White House on St. Patrick's Day. Yes.
That's correct. And Micheál Martin visited days before McGregor's visit on St. Patrick's Day. But generally, the Taoiseach would visit on the White House on Patrick's Day. And it's a big media thing. There's a bowl of shamrocks usually passed from one hand to the other. So I think there begins the issue with the Irish people seeing McGregor being there as a representative of Ireland.
Do you have any idea why that didn't happen this time? Did he come a few days earlier so that it could be Conor holding court as the face of Ireland as far as the White House is concerned?
I don't know that. I know that the first time it was made aware, I was made aware of him visiting the White House was when he put out a post on Instagram. I think it was just text, like, I'm going to the White House. And from there, I had lots of people texting me from different walks of journalism, asking me, do I know anything about this? I said I didn't. And I was like, I was going to text them, like what was happening here. But alas, we saw what happened then on St. Patrick's Day. Okay.
And so obviously this garnered a lot of attention. I believe afterwards, he met with the president himself, his family, his wife, his children.
I tell you what, your work ethic is inspiring. Your work ethic is inspiring. Appreciate it.
Your work ethic is inspiring. A few photo ops. I do believe Elon Musk, we showed that photo yesterday, was involved as well. Mark Burnett of The Apprentice and Survivor fame. The White House tweeting up. What's that?
Mark Burnett, how could we forget?
Yes, of course. There he is. The whole family is there. what an opportunity for them. There's the family only with President Trump in the middle. Big Elon. Not sure what he's holding. Are those cigars? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's his newest venture, Notorious Cigars.
Oh, okay. Got it. And of course, Mr. Kennedy with the Make Ireland Great Again hat. Afterwards, outside, now, there's press all over the gaff over there, starting to ask Conor McGregor some questions. This is courtesy of Sky News. As you can see, this reporter from Sky News sort of taking the temperature of the people and the reaction and asking Conor straight up about it. Then here in New York, we had Simon Harris, who's the Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade and Minister for Defense since January of 2025, hailing from Ireland. The Taoiseach, say it for me again.
Taoiseach. That's a different role than the Taoiseach. He's like second in command kind of,
Okay, so here he is reacting to Conor's visit here in New York City.
Look, it's for President Trump to invite whoever he wants into his home, and he's perfectly entitled to do whatever he wishes in relation to who he decides to invite to the White House. But let me be very clear, Conor McGregor is not here in the United States representing Ireland or the people of Ireland. He's here in a personal capacity. He doesn't speak for Ireland, he doesn't speak for the people of Ireland, he has no mandate to do such, and my views on him are very clear, well established previously.
Okay, so very clearly saying he does not represent us. Later in the evening on RT News, which is the national broadcaster, a whole segment, I do believe, fairly high in the broadcast, devoted to Conor's visit to the White House. Take a look.
The Taoiseach and Taoiseach have strongly criticised remarks made by Conor McGregor about Ireland's immigration policies. He spoke of making America aware of the travesty, as he put it, happening in Ireland ahead of a meeting with President Trump in the White House. Taoiseach Micheál Martin said Mr McGregor's remarks are wrong and don't reflect the views of the people of Ireland.
Conor McGregor on his arrival at the White House this morning.
Happy Paddy's Day, America!
In a social media post before he landed, he said he was in Washington for the most important meeting of his country's future, adding he was beyond ready. During the Taoiseach's visit to the White House last week, the US president, when asked by a reporter, said the mixed martial arts fighter was his favourite Irish person.
Well, I do happen to like your fighter. He's got the best tattoos I've ever seen. I don't know if I'm a big like that.
Conor McGregor.
Well, you have. Well, Conor's great, right?
Today, Mr. McGregor was a guest of President Trump.
Conor is here to meet with the president. He'll be meeting with him later this afternoon. We couldn't think of a better guest to have with us on St. Patrick's Day. We're both wearing our green. This was not planned, but very festive.
By the way, she says this was not planned. I mean, everyone wears green. Of
course.
What do you mean?
Took the words right out of my mouth.
It kind of was planned, if we're being honest. Maybe not that. Like, what, you two are the only ones wearing green? I mean, obviously you're wearing green. If anything, she planned it. Maybe he didn't, but she did. Anyway, we continue.
€150,000 in damages. Mr. McGregor said he was in the US to raise the issues the people of Ireland face.
Our government has long since abandoned the voices of the people of Ireland, and it's high time that America is made aware of what is going on in Ireland. What is going on in Ireland is a travesty.
The Taoiseach Micheál Martin said Conor McGregor's remarks were wrong.
All right, so it goes on and on and on, and there's some of the footage that we just showed you. But as you can see, this being covered as a very big and serious story over in Ireland. And in fact, PT this morning tweeting out a picture of a local newsstand. Is that where this is, PT? The Irish Daily Mail, the Star, all covering this as front page news over in Ireland.
That's right.
What is Gobda? Gift
Gobda, like an idiot, like an idiot.
Oh, geez. Okay. So with that, and I don't know, with papers, you don't know what side they're on, but what would you say is in the aftermath of all this? Because we spoke about it last night as it was all kind of developing. What is the reaction to Conor being over there and saying the things that he did?
Yeah, it's a bad reaction. But I should, you're looking at the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach speaking there. Like, I don't think that it doesn't necessarily mean like if you're not a Conor McGregor fan, you're a fan of these guys, if you get me. Like, it's not a two-party system here. There are many people, and a lot of people have issues with the government, and there's a lot of people that have issues with the things that McGregor brought up. The safety of Dublin, immigration issues, all of these things are relevant. You know, they are conversations that are happening in Ireland. However, it's the issue of him being put across as nearly a diplomat, being able to speak on things like this, getting on the dais and speaking about the country being in a bad place. Like, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, but it's the fact that Irish people look at this. They're used to seeing our head of state meet the American head of state on this day, and instead it's McGregor, a guy who is one of the most controversial figures in the country, is largely an unpopular figure. We have seen his stock being taken off the shelves of major supermarkets across Ireland, the UK, since he lost his civil sexual assault case to Nikita Han, November 2024. Even the hypocrisy of what he said about Micheál Martin, the Taoiseach, with regards to how dare he comment on another Irishman. It's only a matter of weeks since we saw him comment on Paul Hughes and say, in fact, he wasn't an Irishman for representing the tricolour as a dairyman. So a lot of hypocrisy. It's not so much about what he is saying, it is about who is saying it, as far as Irish people are concerned. And that's not to say that that is across the board. Every single person is disgusted by his presence there. I'm sure he does have supporters still here. I'm nearly certain of it. Like, I haven't met them, but I can see them online. So yeah, I guess that's the reaction of it. It's been a very poor reaction to him being in that spot on St. Patrick's Day in the White House.
Do you think he is campaigning, angling for a position in office, some sort of political position? Is this the next chapter?
It could be. You know, I wouldn't rule it out. He has told people that he wants to be the president of Ireland. He certainly said that during the inauguration. There was a lot of media guys going around. I can remember he was asked about it, and they said, "Is it time for you to become president of Ireland?" He was like, "Yes." And of course, our own president is going to be stepping down this year, so there'll be a new one put in place. But honestly, like as I said yesterday, the presidency of Ireland is a symbolic role for the most part. Like, you sign off on things, you can't change things. You can't do what Donald Trump is. You don't become the president of Ireland and start being able to kind of organize tariffs and all this kind of stuff. It's mostly like shaking hands at Irish international games. And I do feel like he is using this kind of narrative to harness support in America. Like, usually if you look at Conor's tweets, again, I'm not saying no Irish people are getting behind this, but if you look at the replies to his posts on X about the state of Ireland and stuff, the vast majority of the replies are from Americans who are talking about, you know, this invasion of immigrants. Again, immigration is an issue here. I'm not trying to say it isn't. But again, this kind of language, I feel, is appealing to a US fan base for him. Even with the hats then, make Ireland great again. It's not something anyone's really talking about over here. Of course, we know that was Trump's big ticket in 2016 and then again in 2024. But it feels to me that he is trying to appeal to a US audience and US Irish people with this kind of narrative. So does that mean he'll run at home, given his stock in the country at the moment? I honestly don't know. I guess, you know, every horse in a race has a chance. So if he got to that point, who knows?
I'm curious why you think that he is angling towards like currying any type of favor with the American audience, because let's be honest, most Americans don't care about the issues in Ireland. They feel like there's enough issues in America. Just like Irish people probably don't care about the issues here. You know, on the whole, they have enough issues. And also, let's be honest, the way the civil trial was covered here in America was nothing like in Ireland. It wasn't a top story. Most people still in America, I would say the casual sports fan, just like how I've always felt, if he comes back, he's still selling over 1 million pay-per-views and all that stuff, don't view him in the same light because he's not carrying this flag. He's carrying your flag. And so why do you think he's trying to curry any type of favor with Americans as opposed to me, I see that, and it seems like he's trying to curry favor with his people who may have turned on him and he say, I'm going to fight for you. He's talking about issues that pertain to Ireland, not issues that pertain to America.
Absolutely. It's and again, it's speculation on my part, but I do feel as though the language he's using is just it's mimicking Trump in a way. So maybe that's just his strategy to win the people over in Ireland. But certainly Irish people have reacted to this poorly. So I don't know how much of a good job that's doing for him here.
Yeah, it's something that we have grown accustomed to. I mean, we were talking to Bo Nickel yesterday, and you see those photos: Bo Nickel, John Jones, Tim Kennedy, George St. Pierre, and this is not us, opining on good, bad, indifferent. It just seems like for whatever reason, and we've talked about this a lot with the Trump walkouts before the UFC events and how he was covered leading up to the election. For whatever reason, MMA, I talk about the Venn diagram that is combat sports and how Uncrowned is in the middle. For whatever reason, there's a Venn diagram of sorts between politics and MMA, and it's like this. As opposed to every other sport, which tries to, for the most part, shy away from it. I mean, you saw it with the four nations, Canada and U.S. were going back and forth. There have been times where the NBA has really tried to push, go out there and vote, but not really, take a sort of stance on where everyone sits. Although, some refuse to go to the White House, et cetera, et cetera. In our sport, there is no type of filter, and I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing. You kind of know what you're dealing with. All the cards are out on the table. But I do think it's an interesting thing. And perhaps it all kind of flows from the top. If the president, if the face is okay with that, because at one time he wasn't. There was once a time where I remember speaking to Dana where he's like, we don't talk politics here. We don't talk religion here. We don't talk about these things. Those days are long gone. And perhaps they see, all right, it's okay for the top man to do it, to talk about it, to just kind of be out with his thoughts and feelings. It's okay for us, and then everyone can, take their cues from there. Maybe that's how it all gets done. I don't know, but it is a very interesting thing, and on such an important day for Irish people, for Conor to be holding court at the White House. I found that to be interesting, especially given what's happened over the past few months and the legal troubles, and then the subsequent reaction to it. I found equally interesting. So. Great stuff there from PT. Anything you want to add before we put a bow on this, PT?
Not really. I guess in terms of like his presidential hopes, there was a poll done in 2023. That was before he lost the sexual assault civil trial to Nikita Hand, and he had I think it was 8%, 89% of people polled said they wouldn't vote for him. 8% of people said they would. I guess 3% are spoiled or whatever. I don't know if that goes up or down after the civil case. I mean, we talked about the reaction on here. It was quite a big reaction. I've talked about the boycotts with Tesco, all these major outlets stopped selling his things. You'd imagine that would result in a downturn in his bid to be president, but who knows? It is a crazy world we're living in, and I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yes. Great stuff, PT. Appreciate it very much. Yes, let us continue to wait and see. Again, we don't delve too deep. Usually on Wednesdays we like to get into politics, not so much on Tuesdays. But this to me was a really interesting story, and I'm always trying to look at these stories with a clear mind, with no sort of bias, with no sort of feeling or emotion attached, but just how people perceive the top stars in our sport, and obviously his continued evolution as a figure, both in and out of the sport, I find to be a story worth talking about and covering. So let us see how it all continues to evolve. Now, in a matter of moments, we are going to be joined by Gunnar Nelson, who, like I said, the last time we saw him in action was exactly 2 years ago today. Would you believe it? March 18th, 2023. How about that? And prior to that, it was March 19th, 2022 that we saw him. So here we are, almost exactly 2 years later. By Saturday, it will be a little over 2 years later. We'll see him back in action, back at the O2, this time against Kevin Holland. He's kind enough to join us. The pride of Iceland. There he is, Gunnar Nelson, our old friend. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Long time no speak. It's so great to see you back. Did you know it was 2 years ago today? Your last fight?
Yeah, I did. Yes.
And then 3 years ago tomorrow, and it became almost like a yearly thing at the O2, you fighting in March at the O2, although you missed last year. Why has it been 2 years since your last fight?
I've just been concentrating on other things. I've been coaching quite a bit and focusing on the team and not as much myself.
So it wasn't injuries or anything like that?
Not really. I mean, you always have something. I've been fighting for many, many years, so there's always something, but nothing serious. Just focusing on other things like coaching and stuff.
Okay, and so is it up to you to tell the UFC, like how does the process work? Do you tell them, hey, I'm ready to come back? Do they just hit you up, occasionally? How does that work?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. You tell them when you're ready and stuff like that. And I was actually looking to fight a little bit earlier than this, but couldn't get matched up for December. And then they mentioned London. They usually want me here, so
Yeah.
here I am.
How do some believe in cage rust, some don't. How do you feel about it since it will be 2 years since your last fight?
Yeah, I mean it's not the first time that I've had a long layover, so I'm not too worried.
Okay. Kevin Holland, obviously a big name, a little bit of a quick turnaround for him. What did you think of the matchup when it was offered to you?
Yeah, I liked it. Kevin is a popular fighter. He's a fun fighter as well. I like to watch him fight. He's creative. He does everything. He's dangerous everywhere. He knows his way around the ground as well, and he's good. He's fun. He's exciting.
You mentioned the ground. That has obviously been a bit of a sore spot for him. Usually when fighting wrestlers, but obviously your grappling is elite. Without giving away too much, would it be fair to say that you're going to try to continue to exploit that, his deficiencies on the ground?
Yeah, I'll try to exploit everything I can, but definitely, you've watched my fights and you've known me for some time. It's no secret what I try to do in my fights.
Yes. Do you still love the idea of fighting? Do you still have that same passion? What motivates you at this stage of your life?
Yeah, I was actually talking to that with one of my coaches the other day. I've had different motivation like throughout the years, and like right now, I feel like one of the stronger ones would be to inspire my team and the people that I train with and stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you train for this fight at ATT Europe?
Yes.
Okay, is that the home gym for you now?
No, I mean I still my main coach is still MMA coach is still John. But this time around we decided to go to Croatia to follow my striking coach Luka, who lived in Iceland for a long time. Recently moved back to Croatia, so I knew that he had some really good partners for me there, and I decided to go there. And the plan was to go from there to Dublin, but when we got there, we just liked it a lot, and to save a little bit of travel, we just decided to stay there.
Okay, and of course, you're referring to John Kavanagh, the head man over at SBG Ireland, which you've been a part of their team for so long. So will he be cornering you for this fight?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he go to Croatia too?
No. We just kept in touch through the internet and stuff, and sent some stuff over, and we've done that before. We have a very good relationship. Me and John obviously have been friends, very good friends for a long time, and he's been my coach from the start. So it's quite easy for us to work together, even though we're not together.
Okay. You recently, I think just a few months ago, you welcomed, I think, your third child to this great world. Is that accurate?
Yeah. About a year and a half ago.
Oh, was it a year and a half ago? I thought it was just a few months ago. So how many? So you have three now, right?
I do.
And the oldest is how old?
He's 10. He'll be 11 now in May.
Okay. And is he training?
Yeah, he trains sometimes. He's like on and off, but he mostly focuses on football, and he's playing handball now as well.
Amazing. So I was just wondering if there's we obviously know about your father, legend, yourself. Do you think one of your kids is going to follow in your martial arts footsteps?
I don't know. We'll see. I try not to pressure them to do anything. Just to do what they love and stay active and just inspire them to do basically what they want to do. So if they want to do martial arts, then I will fully support them. But if they don't, then that's fine as well.
No pressure to do martial arts, but pressure to eat sheep's head. Yes.
Of course,
everyone has to
very
eat that.
important.
When you introduce that to the youngsters, like is it at a year or 2 years? When do you bring that into the?
Yeah, basically when they start eating.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes total sense. Obviously, we mentioned your father, the great Jalin Nelson. I saw a series of photos, you and your father, I think 2021, 2022, 23, 24. You always take the same photo with him on New Year's Eve. Is this the tradition? Where is this? Because I love this.
Yeah. This is outside my parents' home in Iceland.
Look at that. Same one.
Yeah. Same one every year. This is it's become a tradition for us, and we'll keep it.
How is he doing?
He's good. He's gonna be here tomorrow night, I think, and he's happy.
Okay.
He's getting stressed, of course, like always.
Stressed because you're fighting?
Yeah, it never goes away for him. It never goes away.
Do you think he would prefer if you stopped fighting at this point?
It would lower his blood pressure for sure.
Has he told you this?
Has he told me? He doesn't have to tell me.
Oh, you could tell.
Oh yeah.
Okay. How
I think it's natural. I mean, I can definitely see that if my son was fighting, maybe I would feel the same.
It's wild because when you look back at when you debuted and all the cards you were on, a lot of those guys are no longer there, are no longer fighting. Even the guys that you came up with at SPG, and so I'm wondering how much longer do you want to do this for?
Yeah, I've asked myself the same question. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm just gonna go with the flow on this one and take it by ear, and we'll see. I still feel very good. It's hard to stop.
Yeah,
fighting is fun, and there's something there that always calls you back. And so as long as I'm healthy and willing, we'll keep going.
Is there a chance this is your last one? Is there any chance at all?
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna take it by ear. Of course, there's a chance, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
Do you like the routine, the cadence of fighting once a year? Is that enough for you?
Right now it has been. I've just been, like I said, my concentration has been more on my team, and it's a little bit different when you're traveling away. Like I always travel away when I'm preparing for a fight and stuff like that, and sometimes I like to just have one thing to focus on, which is hard when you have 3 kids. But you know what I mean. Like try not to divide my concentration too much. So right now it was fine, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get a quick turnaround this time.
Okay.
See.
Yes. And I'm assuming you don't mind that you're always seemingly on these European cards. Like there's no part of you that says, "Oh, I want to fight in America. Who cares?" Right?
Yeah, that's what we were kind of looking at in December, but we'll see. I don't mind. I'll fight anywhere really. But of course, I'm well familiar with London and O2 here, and I love it. So it's not a problem for me.
It's wild. I do believe your last tweet shows your standing in the welterweight division, but it's from 2 years ago. Most submissions. Here you are from March of 23, proud to hold 2 UFC records, one for submission and the other for striking accuracy. in the welterweight division. That's 7 submissions and 60.5%. So this is from your last fight. And you also mentioned maybe not just a grappler with a smiley face. Would you believe it? 2 years later, you're still number 1 in both those categories.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that crazy?
We'll try to get it even higher this time.
Yes, but it does show your well-rounded skills, and you still maintain that top spot. I did have a little bit of a bone to pick with you because I do believe they consider you somewhat of an unofficial Irishman, right, due to your affiliation with SBG Ireland. But I did see in an interview recently that you mentioned that Croatian potatoes are the best potatoes in all the world, and I feel like some of your Irish brothers and sisters would take issue with that. So care to, I've never heard much about Croatian potatoes. I've heard a lot about the Irish potatoes, but not the Croatian. So what is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know. It's something that just when we arrived in Croatia, the food here, the food in Croatia was unbelievable, really, really good. And for me, something that stood out was the potato. I don't know what it is that they do with that potato or how they grow it or whatever. It is something else.
Really?
Yeah. And I love the potatoes in Ireland. However, I definitely recommend the Irish people to try the Croatian potato, and I'd like to know what they think.
Compare and contrast. Any particular way you eat it over there? Is it like French fries? Is it just cut up, raw? What do you do?
It's so one of my favorite ways is what they call pekka. So it's under the oven, they call it. So there's like a big kind of fireplace, and they have a steel hood that they put over the food and cook everything like that.
Okay.
That's one probably my favorite so far.
Do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day due to your affinity for the Irish?
Not really.
No.
Not really, no.
No. Yeah, you got more important things. By the way, there is a new champion since you last fought in the welterweight division. What do you think of Bilal Muhammad?
Yeah, he's good. He's a good fighter, very good wrestler, and keeps a high pace. And yeah, not too much. I haven't really watched a lot of fights with him, but yeah, he's doing well.
I feel like you're the kind of guy who doesn't really like stay up to watch these fights. Like if you're not preparing or active, you're not sitting around on a Sunday morning watching UFC.
No, not usually. I have to wake up early the next day.
Yeah. No, I understand that. What about
I do watch some of the cards, yes.
Leon versus Sean, the main event, your weight class. You know Leon. You fought him several years ago. What do you make of that one? Do you have a pick in that one?
I like Leon. Sean is another guy I haven't watched too much. No offense, I don't watch that many fights.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like Leon, and I mean we've shared the octagon together, and so I'd be happy to see him win.
We just talked about your longtime friend and teammate's visit to the White House yesterday, Conor McGregor. Have you had a chance to train with him at all in the last few months? Has he been around?
No, I haven't trained with Conor for a long, long time. We keep in touch sometimes on Instagram and stuff like that, and yeah, but I haven't met him in a good while.
Okay.
Some years.
Really? Wow. Any particular reason, or I guess him not being active?
Well, I guess just life.
Yeah.
You know, he's very busy doing his thing, and I'm doing my thing, and yeah, I think it's just life.
How do you foresee Saturday going?
For myself?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah. You thinking submission? You thinking a striking battle? What are you feeling?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. We'll see where the fight takes us, but I'm excited to get in there and feel his energy. Well,
we're excited to have you back. It's always fun to watch you fight. I wish selfishly we could see you more often, but I understand why. And we will cherish these last few fights. How many there are left, we will cherish them. So looking forward to it. Good luck to you on Saturday, and thank you for the time as always, Gunnar.
Thanks very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, there he is, the pride of Iceland, Gunnar Nelson. We've been talking to him for many, many years. His UFC debut, would you believe it? September of 2012 on a card in Nottingham, England. Yes, home to your Nottingham Forest, the trickiest of trees. Main event that night, Stefan Struve versus Stipe Miocic. Would you believe if I told you on that night, Stefan Struve beat the future heavyweight champion? What a card that was on Fuel TV here in America. Them's were the days. How about this lineup? Stefan Struve versus Stipe Miocic. Second round TKO win for the big Dutchman. Dan Hardy defeating Amir Sadallah via unanimous decision. Brad Pickett defeating Yves Jabouin via KO. One punch. Matt Wyman beat Paul Sass. Remember the Sassingle? How about John Hathaway beating John McGuire? This is a real trip down memory lane. Shea Mills beating Dwayne Bang Ludwig. Gruesome knee injury. Remember that in the first round? Jimmy Manoa beat Kyle Kingsbury. Akira Corsani. Haven't heard that name in years. Beat Andy Ogle. Brad Tavares beat Tom Watson. Gunnar Nelson submitted DeMarcus Johnson. That was a catchweight fight. DeMarcus took the fight on short notice. Robbie Peralta beat Jason Young in just 23 seconds in the curtain jerker. That was his first fight. Remember that one? It was a catchweight at 175, and DeMarcus Johnson came in at 183. Took the fight on super short notice. He won on that night, beat George Santiago, beat Omari Akhmedov, beat Zach Cummins, and then lost a split decision to Rick Story. He was on that very memorable July 2014 card in Dublin at the 3 Arena. He beat Zach Cummings on that card. I think Pizzi still has it as his header. McGregor, Cathal Pendred, Paddy Houlihan, Norman Park, and Gunnar, the unofficial Irishman, all up there on the dais afterwards, all victorious. What a time that was. Beat Brandon Thatch. The Damian Maia fight was a setback, obviously, but wins over Albert Tumanov, Alan Jouban, Alex Oliveira. Had the Leon Edwards split decision loss in 2019. That was on the resurrection card. Masvidal beating Darren Till, lost to Gilbert Burns, but has since won 2 fights in a row. Takashi Sato and Brian Barberina. Earlier today, outside the O2 Arena, we had Leon Edwards and Sean Brady facing off. As I said, we are inching closer. Here it is. Leon seems very much not into the face-off. Kind of looking around, like, all right, guys, can we go?
Brady looks ready to go.
Brady looks pumped.
You have to worry. Is the mind wandering to
to
wheels?
Yeah. Who's the favorite, by the way?
Sean Brady is.
Really? Wow, still, huh?
He's actually become a bigger favorite.
Bigger favorite?
Yeah.
What's he now?
Minus 175. Leon Edwards plus 145.
Wow. Does that surprise you?
H-Now? It surprised me that it's growing this much. I think it would open at like minus 125.
Do you think it's because of the wrestling thing? Oh, what's going on here? Where'd you get that?
Oh, this whole thing?
Yeah, what is this? This looks like a real knockoff version of the Poirier hat or the Hector hat.
You would say that. It's actually the non-knockoff version.
It is a Poirier hat?
No.
Oh.
Our friends at Top Rank sent this to me and us. Anniversary of Hagler Hearns.
First round, I saw that today. What? Where did you guys get this? That's an incredible
literally,
shirt.
as we started the show, just came.
Oh my God. I love that t-shirt.
Pretty sick. With the Caesar's Palace logo
Yes.
on it, too.
Yo, that first round.
Shout out to Top Rank,
I mean,
man.
if you don't know it, like if you've heard people talk about it and have not seen it, or just this is the first time, it's excellence. It is truly boxing excellence. It is the best you will see.
Oh
Rick looks good in a red hat, man, I have to say.
By the way,
you know what? Careful.
For a
Careful
second,
now.
no,
Careful.
corner of my eye, for a second, I was like, what are we trying to say here?
I know. You know what we're trying to say?
War.
This right here, baby.
What is it good for?
Anniversary.
They posted that on their Twitter, and that's like one of my things. I heard what movie was he talking about? Bill Simmons was talking about this. He was saying that, like, every time this particular movie is on, he has to watch the whole thing. I feel that way about Hagler Hearns round 1.
100%. Can I give you a spoiler?
Yeah.
He says that about 6,000
Does he?
different
Yeah.
movies. That's it. He has created a whole series called The Rewatchables.
About that,
for
yeah.
specifically that. Like, if there's like certain movies that you go by on cable, you sit through. You have to finish it. I agree with you though. And also, it's like it's one like all you have to see is a short amount of time. It's not like it's like you're sitting there
3
forever.
minutes of fucking
pure
I wish we
violence.
could watch it right now.
Yeah.
That fight today, is that 40 years ago today?
Is it today? I know
I think it's April.
It's coming up.
April 15th.
So what are they doing? Are they selling this stuff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who sent that to us? Our boy Evan.
Top Rank.
Who from Top Rank? Just Top Rank? Was it Bob Arum himself?
It was signed TR.
Oh, look, we have some friends over at Top Rank.
By old Bobby A.
I love it.
By the way, it's addressed to us. Here, let me just read the letter.
read
It's
it.
very nice.
Read it.
Hey, Rick, Ariel, Rick, and GC. On April 15th, we're honoring 40 years of Hagler versus Hearns with this special collection, and we wanted you to be a part of it. Hope you love it. Team Top Rank. So we're going to give it credit to the entire team.
Yeah.
Shop.toprank.com. That's
Love
where you can get it.
By the way, did you bend the hat like that?
No, it's
okay, because there's some people in the chat that are wondering why you bent it so much.
I didn't.
Okay.
They're all bent
He's
like
trying to make it look like breaking news.
Wasn't me.
Oh, yes,
Wasn't
yes,
me.
Yes.
Never seen the fight.
You have to.
Need to watch
You
it
have
now.
to take the.
I'm going to wear my shirt and watch it. I'm
Just
gonna
watch.
sit on my
I
couch
mean,
wearing-
first of all, just watch the
wearing
first
shirt.
3 minutes, like just as a.
Don't tell me what happens. No spoilers.
Okay,
please.
just as like a,
No
it's so
spoilers.
fucking good. Oh my god, that first round.
It's one of those things that like people sell it up to you because I obviously wouldn't have seen it in at the time that it was happening. It's one of those things that people sell up to you, and then when you see it, it delivers. That's what's so great about it. It lives up to every hype you've heard about it. It truly is incredible and worth celebrating.
According to CompuBox, Hearns threw 83 punches in the first round.
Yep.
Hagler threw 82.
Yep.
Hearns landed 67.5%, 56 out of 83, and Hagler landed 61%, 50 out of 82. That's crazy.
Pure slugfest.
You want to know something crazy? Jabs landed and thrown in the first round. Hearns 11 of 22. Hagler 0 of 0.
Yeah.
Of the 82 punches, none of them were jabs.
Incredible stuff.
Power punches landed by Hagler in the first round, 50 of 82. Oh, that's insanity.
Yeah, GC's gonna have a good time when he gets on that.
Unbelievable.
From the side, this really looks like something.
Oh my god. Wait, with the hat? Oh, sorry, I thought you meant the.
It looks great.
It
looks
wow,
great.
Sean Brady, favorite against Leon Edwards.
-175.
Style wise, you have to look at Brady and just be like, there is a clear path there, right? You have to assume if he can get this to the mat or if he can crowd Leon enough, that he's going to have the advantage in those clinches. He's going to have the advantage on the mat. And so I get it. I think it makes sense. I also, let's call it what it is. Like the last two performances for Leon, like he needs to show something here, and Brady's a perfect opponent to do it.
Okay, but his last two wins were against quote unquote wrestlers. Sean Brady, a completely different fighter, though.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, I'm
Colby's
not rating
even-
the Colby
yeah.
Covington fight. Like that was.
What do you mean you're not rating it?
Colby looks like shot. Like that
Yeah,
was
but
not
he
a-
also doesn't really wrestle anymore.
Yeah, he's a pure volume aggression guy, and he just he did not look good.
I think it's a really tough matchup. Michael Bisping called it what do you call it? Like a nightmare scenario for Leon Edwards. Because you're going from JDM, who is a tremendous striker, but is not going to try to wrestle you, which is playing right to Leon's strengths, against Sean Brady, who I think, again, this is going to piss people off. I think he had a bad night. I think he had an off night against Bilal. I think he's much better, and I think he's proven, not much better than Bilal. He's better than the guy that we saw in that fight, which is his lone loss, and I think he has proven that since then. He screams, he is the guy who is going to fight for a belt. Does he ultimately win a belt?
Make people mad though.
Oh, I mean, come on. Let's be honest. Anything like yesterday,
came
the most sensitive fans of all time. Like
he came on
you
our
can't
show
say
and
anything.
said to you, like the mental hurdles that he was dealing with, like on in the lead up to that, the pressure that it makes all the sense in the world. Now, granted, that doesn't mean that if he was to be in a rematch with Bilal Muhammad, that Bilal doesn't win that fight. That's not what's said there. But to ascertain that we would see a better version of Sean Brady, I think that's undoubtedly true. Like that was not his a good performance by him. And
I would love to see that fight again.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Like the Sean Brady that we saw against Gilbert Burns. The pressure, the volume.
I wouldn't mind seeing Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad again too at a reasonable hour of the day. I wouldn't mind.
No, you
seeing
can't bring that up. You can't bring up the hours. I'm sorry. It's not allowed.
But yeah.
What?
No, GC's not.
They both had to fight at that hour.
I agree with that. Totally.
That's not. No, don't. Now you're
Bilal
opening up this kind of.
And Leon did not.
He fought on American time. In fact, he trains in Central Time Zone. It was actually even better for him. It was even earlier for him. He fought an hour early.
Now you lost me. But
what are you talking about? There's no way. Leon Edwards and his team made a massive error in the build-up to that fight. They should have trained in America. They should have taken the whole. Yeah, I know, 100%. Oh, listen, he played with the hand he was dealt,
and he did not.
Leon and his team made a mistake.
Yeah.
They should have moved the camp to Las Vegas or pick a country. Pick a city in the United States. You could train all you want in the middle of the night. It's still the middle of the night. You're still having to do things. You have kids. You have duties. They should have just left for 2 months. And by the way, maybe that's impossible. He has a family. He has things he has to do. Maybe that's impossible. Maybe he didn't want to do that. And yes, I understand that Aspinall and Paddy did well, and the other British fighters who were victorious did well. But he had the most to lose, and he was fighting an American who was able to train. It was a perfect scenario for him. Does the fight go the same if it's happening at 10 p.m. local time or it's happening in Las Vegas? We may never know, but I don't see why it's such a big issue to bring it up. And I reject the notion that both had to deal with it. No, only one guy had to deal with it. If they were both British, then you could say both had to deal with it. But look, you gotta play with the hand that you're dealt. And he's gonna have to live with that. And I also don't know, he said yesterday on the program that he thinks that if he wins, he's getting a title shot. I don't know if it's gonna go down that way. Because I feel like if Bilal beats JDM, which could very well happen, I still think they're going to try to run it back with Shavkat, right? And then I saw Ian Gary, I think it was yesterday, say that he's pissed off that he didn't get a title shot. You would maybe the scenario is if Leon wins, he fights Ian Gary. But I would, unless Shavkat's injury is so serious that it's going to sideline him for 6, 7, 8, 9 months, and that doesn't seem to be the case. His team told me July, August. Leon's probably going to have to win one more if he gets by Sean Brady to get back into that title picture. Anyone disagree?
Nope.
Yeah. Ian Gary said that he was fired up. What was the word that he used? I just saw it on his. What was the word? I just saw it. Stand by. Nope.
Is the microphone in the way?
Why are you fighting? I don't care who they want. No, it's fine. I just want to fight. I want to prove. Why aren't you fighting for the title? Anyway, this is a video. I thought it was in the caption, but it's not in the caption. Anyway, looking forward to seeing him back. Would love to see Ian fight the winner of that fight. Ian fighting the winner of Brady versus Leon makes a lot of sense to me. And then the winner of that fight fighting the winner of the Montreal main event versus Shavkat, because I do think Shavkat deserves it. Oh, okay. Our next guest is here. Or is he here?
Yes.
All right, I didn't see that. Looking forward to speaking to him. So we last saw him in action about 9 or so days ago, and hard-fought battle. Eventually, it was won by Ignacio Bahamondes, but that wasn't the top story. In the immediate aftermath, we found out that Jalin Turner, who's considered one of the best lightweights in the world at just 29 years young, was calling it a career, and obviously very surprising because we don't see this often, and he has spoken about it a little bit in the immediate aftermath. Wanted to give him some time to maybe process and digest it all, have him on the program. He's kind enough to come on, so let us speak to the tarantula right now. There he is, Jalin Turner. Hello, Jalin. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thanks for doing this, and apologies for the mix-up with the time zones and whatnot. I thought you were in a different time zone, but I appreciate you being very flexible. And so let's get into it. Here we are, like I said, some 9 or so days removed from UFC 313. How do you feel about that night and the decision to make the announcement in the aftermath? Are you still feeling, the same way?
Yeah, I'm still feeling the same way. It's been settling a little bit more. I got the retirement letter from the UFC, and yeah, I still stand by the decisions, and that's just where I'm at right now with it.
I saw on the night you did some interviews, and you said that you actually considered walking away after UFC 300. Is that accurate?
Yeah, yeah. I took some time off. I stepped away. I didn't fight for about 11 months, almost a year, and I was just trying to figure out if I still had the fire, the drive, the inspiration. I want to continue to just fight because there was just so much going on, and just so much going on with me, just mentally, defeat always sucks, and yeah, I just had to process some things that I was going through, and I kept trying to find the love for the sport again and find my why again, and it just kept dwindling. It would come, it would go, and it's hard to be at the top of the sport and be inconsistent mentally.
You were going into that fight at UFC 300 against Renato Moicano, coming off a really nice win over Bobby Green. And so were you feeling that way going into the fight, or was there something about how that fight played out or that training camp that made you start to feel this way?
Ultimately, it was how that fight played out. I got a lot of strife from the finish with Bobby, and the community was like, "Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you this? Why didn't you that?" I'm a good guy, so that wasn't my intent to continue to hurt the guy, but that's what you got to do in the sport, you go until the ref calls you off, and how it played out in 300 where I just had a little moment of clarity where I just didn't want to continue to hurt this man. I didn't want to continue to hit him, and yeah, man, then everybody was like, "Oh, you should have did this, you should have did that," try to walk off. And it was UFC 300, such a big show, the biggest, I think it would have been, one of the biggest events I was a part of, next to Conor McGregor versus Khabib. And, I just really wanted a big redemption moment, okay, I'm going to do this. The UFC was hyped for me to be on the card. And yeah, I just felt like I just had so much of a letdown, on myself, on the people that believed in me, on the promotion, and it just took a toll. It took a really big toll mentally, and everything just started to kind of just so many things just got deteriorated in my personal life, and just changed up, and there was so many crazy transitions and switches, and it was a lot, it was so much going on, and ultimately that performance, not following up, not doing, had I won that fight, had I finished through those last few punches as if, from the previous fight, things probably would be a little bit different. But, I've already been getting a little burnt out from the sport. I've already been losing my love for it a little bit, but, I was still able to go in there and do what I do. But yeah, I just don't feel it anymore. I feel like my why is gone. I feel like my fire is just dwindled too much to perform at the level that the UFC asks for and demands, and where I want to be.
I appreciate you elaborating on that very much. I remember the Bobby Green fight very clearly, and I remember, the finish, and I remember that Kerry Hatley, who was the referee, got a lot of the blame for letting the fight go on. I didn't feel like the blame was being thrown in your direction. In the aftermath, though, because you were a part of it, because you were the one throwing the punches, did you feel like you were at fault? Did you feel like you were getting blamed for just doing what you're told to do, which is go until the referee stops you?
In the moment, I didn't. In the moment, I saw Bobby still moving and still a little bit there, and then after I watched it, I was like, dang, that was pretty bad, and and then seeing there wasn't too many comments where people were just hey, there's people defending me. There were people going against me, and it was just a lot. It was just already a lot. I just felt bad. I felt bad because like even to begin with, I didn't want to fight Bobby. Like I said it in interviews, like I didn't want to fight Bobby. We're from the same area. I show him a lot of respect, and I kind of felt like I kind of got a little push to fight that fight, and it's like it is what it is. I just went in there just to fight and do my job, and yeah, man, a lot of emotions went into that, like after, I was already like kind of like against it, and then come out, and then I get all this like slack from the fans. I'm like, yo, like it's like, man, it's just it plays with the mental, a lot.
I could totally see that. And you didn't have any of these feelings going into that fight about like losing that fire, your why. No, like none of that was apparent inside.
Yes, to an extent, but anytime a fighter's come off of a loss, we always think like, man, we don't want to do this. This sucks. X, X, Y, and Z. You always get those thoughts in your head. You like battle those demons, battle those thoughts, and you can always overcome them. You can always get over it. Like, so I was like, who was the fight before Bobby? It was Hooker, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I came off the Hooker fight, and even with Hooker, like I felt bad seeing him in the hospital. I was like, man, dude, like I just took time away from this man, spending time with his family. He had to get surgery. Like it really weighed heavy on me. It weighed a lot on me. And I started to, seek help, like started like talking to a therapist for a bit, and I just I don't know. A lot of it started to just get to me, I'm like, dang, like I'm out here hurting people, I don't know why. Like it just, I don't know if it was like a spiritual awakening, like me coming to my faith. It just got rough. It just got hard to like want to go in there and like hurt people. And then, I go out there and I do what I did with Bobby. And like, I was just like on a more personal note, like it was already like just affecting me as a person, spiritually. So it goes deeper than a lot of people know, a lot like they're not talk about. So
yeah,
it's just a little insight.
No, and I can't thank you enough for the insight. I know it's not easy to speak on this, but it actually, when you start to hear you talk about it, it crystallizes the performance against Moicano perfectly. It now all makes sense what happened there, because I think in the aftermath, people were wondering, why didn't you just go that, into that extra gear and finish him off? And so in that moment, are you thinking back to the Bobby Green fight and some of the criticism you received, and that's why you didn't go full throttle?
In that moment, I just feel like I had like just a moment of clarity. You get to a point when you fight where like you're just on autopilot. You don't really think about anything. You just kind of like, all right, I'm here, I'm doing my job, I'm doing everything I trained to do, and you just like just turn on a certain mode. And I was in that zone, and as soon as I seen him fall, I was like I just had a moment of clarity. I was like I didn't want to hit him. I didn't want to. I don't know what it was. My consciousness turned on, and I don't know if it was God. I don't know who it was, what it was. Like I don't know what came over me. But I just did not want to keep hitting him. I don't know why. And, people are like, oh, you wanted to do a walk-off? And, I kind of seen Herb step in, like, and, I've already had Herb as ref before. Like, he's done that to me before. So, it wasn't like something I didn't know that could have happened, like where I would have to continue to fight this guy. I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to keep hitting him. And then same with this last performance, like Ignacio got me in a beautiful triangle. And I had an opportunity to get out. I seen the opportunity. I seen my defense. I seen my time. I just didn't have that extra drive to like fight hard enough to get out, And I'm aware of it. I'm conscious of it, and it's just hard. It's hard right now. Hard to deal with.
In the immediate aftermath of 300, were you done? And then did you decide to come back for one last shot to see if you still had it in you, or did that thought of that final, that finality to the career, did that not fully come to mind?
Yeah, it already came to mind. I would have been okay calling it a career then, but I felt like I was doing it more so out of fear of wanting to go back and fight. I didn't feel right with that, and I felt like God was like, go out there and fight again, So I did, and I didn't get the performance or the result that I wanted, but I'm proud. I overcome the fear. I went out there and I tried to do my job, and I'm pretty proud of myself.
You should be. No, I mean, the 0.1% of the people on the planet are able to overcome that fear and make that walk that you've done on multiple occasions. So you should be very proud of yourself. Did you tell your team, your coaches, friends, loved ones, managers, did you tell anyone that you were feeling this way?
Yeah. Yeah, everybody close to me pretty much knew. I talked to coaches about it. Talked to my fiance about it. I talked to my family about it. And it was hard. I talked to my therapist about it. And I just it was hard. I talked to Dorian Price. Dorian Price gave me some good information. Like, I talked to him for a bit. He helped me out a lot. And I just got so many mixed results. Like, mentally I was there, mentally I wasn't there. And I talked to my management. I told them, like, hey, like, I don't know if I'm gonna fight. Like, I'm not there. I went through so much. Like, I didn't even have the fight contract signed yet. But the UFC was like, yeah, the fight should be good. It should be on, But, like, I go out to Dubai. I train as if I'm getting, like, I have this fight. And, like stuff gets heavy mentally for me out there. And then I end up coming back early. I come back to Florida. And then I tell my management, I'm like, yo, I don't think I want to fight. I was like, I think I'm good. And he's like, all right, well, I'll talk to the UFC. And I think maybe a week later, I get the bout agreement. And as soon as I see it, I was like, dang, is this a sign that I need to fight? I was like, I prayed about it. I was like, all right, like, okay, well, maybe I just need to overcome this fear. And, as soon as I see the bout agreement, a lot of my fear and anxieties went away. And I was like, all right, like, I think I'm good. I think I'm ready to go. And then, like some other stuff happens during training, I just get a little injury and nothing too crazy. I was like, oh man, like, do I still want to do this? Like, am I going to be able to do this? Like, it's just, it's just a mental battle. And, it's just the first time I ever had this mental battle going into a fight or a training camp where it was winning. It was, I felt like I didn't want to, no matter what came above me or came over me, I didn't want to. As prior, no matter what thought came into my mind, no matter what crossed my mind that tried to hinder me, I always wanted to. Like, I wanted to do it so badly, as badly as I wanted to breathe, I wanted to do it. Like, I would risk my life to go fight. And I don't feel that. I don't feel that way anymore. And that's really dangerous, because you got to feel like that, like, in a sense, like, not literally, but even just figuratively, like, in your mind, you have to be willing to sacrifice so much to go in there and fight.
How were you feeling in the locker room right before the fight at T-Mobile?
I was feeling heavy, but I felt a bit at home. I felt a little bit at peace. But then I go in there and they're telling me, like, Chris Curtis's fight got canceled, and I think it was somebody else's fight got canceled.
Curtis
So
Blades.
two fights got canceled, and I was like, dang, I want my fight to be canceled. I don't even want to go out there. This is about to be crazy. I was like, oh man, like, why do I have to hear that right now, And I started trying to warm up, trying to, like, get through the nerves, get through the feelings. And I was like, dang, I don't want to go out there. I was like, oh man. I was like, no, I don't want to go out
Wow.
there. And, I start moving, start feeling my body move, start warming up, start going through the motions, start hitting pads. Everything starts coming together again. I start like getting my wits about me and I start feeling good. I'm like, okay, like this is what I'm good at. I've done this for a long time. Just go out there and move, go perform. And I start breaking a sweat, start hitting the pads hard. I feel good. I'm just telling myself like, okay, it's gonna be like you're gonna go hard spar. Like don't think too much of it. Don't think too much of it. As soon as you go out there, as soon as you hear that music, you're gonna lock in. You're gonna be in your zone. And I'm just standing in the little walkway, and I'm just praying. I'm just like praying, just asking God like to like be with me, protect my opponent. Make sure everything is good, and yeah, I'm just like asking him to just give me courage, give me strength, and then I walk out, and then we go fight. And in the fight, I felt so relaxed. I felt so at peace. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like normally when you're in a fight, you feel like everything just slows down. You get like this tunnel vision where everything's in slow motion. Everything you feel is heavy, like your body feels super heavy and strong. And it almost feels like when you're trying to run in a dream, like that's how it feels when you go fight. I didn't feel like that. And it kind of worried me because I was like, man, it just worried me, but it gave me a sense of peace at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. So when we come out and we do start exchanging, I felt so crisp. I felt fast. This was the lightest I ever walked into a fight. I walked into this fight at like 173, and I just felt good. And I didn't expect them to shoot on me. I didn't expect them to try to take me down. So when my goal was to like grapple him and take him down. And then I'm like, man, now I'll think about it. I'm like, I should have just kept it on the feet, And yeah, just like throwing elbows. That was the one thing I wanted to do in this fight. I was like, I want to get in a certain position. I want to throw elbows. And then we got there. And then like we go back to guard, and I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm just cruising, and like he kind of like bumps me over one side, and I'm like, all right. And then I like place my knee too far to the left for too long, and I was like, oh shoot. And then my coach calls me to grab the overhooks instead of the underhooks, and I'm like, dang. And then like as soon as I like noticed that I was doing that wrong, like he starts adjusting too. I know he heard it, and then he like starts adjusting for the triangle, and then he throws it on, and I sit up like this, and I just remember like I could get out, and like he starts like pulling me down, and I'm like it's gonna be a hard fight. Like it's gonna be a hard fight from here to get out. And if we get out, then I'm gonna have to keep fighting this guy for the next however many minutes, however many rounds. And I was like, dang, like, do I want to do that? And there's no knock on anyone, like no knock on anyone's technique. Like everything was beautiful. Like he executed everything. I just didn't want to keep fighting. And it's a wild thing for me to say this, experience this, and talk about this, because when I fought Brad Riddell, I won't ever forget feeling exactly. I felt like he wasn't there mentally when I fought him. So it always like is in the back of my heart, like, dang, I didn't get to fight him at his best, and it just feels unfair. And he even reached out to me after. I haven't personally talked to him about it, but I did hear that he wasn't good mentally before we fought. And man, like that also takes away from the victory. It's like, dang, like I didn't get to battle to get my position against someone that was like willing and ready to lay it all on the line. Like they weren't there. I didn't get their 100%. It always takes away from a fighter, and it's oh man, it's rough. I didn't ever think that would have been me. I didn't ever think like I would get to a mental place where I wouldn't be 100% ready to like go out on my shield, and I was just, yeah, man, it's such a mental battle, man. It's such a mental battle because all the skills, all the attributes, all the talent, I know I have it. Like, I know it's there. Like I hear it all the time. I've heard it since I started fighting. And, yeah, man, if the mental's not there, the body's not really going to facilitate well.
It seemed like in the immediate aftermath, I think you may have told Dana White that you were done, and then he was trying to tell the production team, but then your coaches told you not to say it in the cage. Is that how it all went down?
No, he told me to wait up, but I think the security like got us out of the octagon when we all went out, and I talked to like John Moraga a little bit, and yeah, we didn't get the opportunity to stay in the octagon because of the next fight started to come out. So that was just our fault, like just miscommunication. But he did tell me like stay in if that was my decision. Like he told me wait up, and yeah.
Okay. You mentioned speaking to a therapist. Is this like a sports specific therapist or a general life therapist?
Yeah, sports specific.
Okay. And so when you're speaking to this individual, are you talking about these issues like that affect you as an athlete, or are there other things that you need to explore? I ask you this because I'm someone who's talked about, speaking to a therapist. I've done it on multiple occasions for long periods of time, very recently as well. And so, not asking you specifically to go into the exact reasons that don't pertain to fighting, but I was curious if you're only speaking about sports-related things, or are there other things that are sort of, on your mind and making you feel this way?
Yeah, we have a good relationship, so we talk about like everything pretty much across the board. Personal is like seldom. If it's gonna affect my performance as far as sports go, we'll speak on it. As far as training goes. But yeah, we keep it more on the sports end of everything. But just acquiring skills and just ways to reset and keep my mind intact, and just overcome the hurdles that life throws at me.
How does your mind feel now? Now that you are speaking about it, you have said that you are done. Do you feel healthier? Do you feel happier? Do you feel like a weight has been lifted?
Yeah, I feel like a weight's been lifted, but also, it's a death of my dreams. It's hard. I mourn it. The more it sets in, the more I think about it. It's like it gets hard.
Mm-hmm.
There's good days, bad days. Like I fight back tears talking about it. But I just think it's it's the right decision. It's the right decision for now. I feel like it's really responsible of me to acknowledge what's going on, and it's not to say that fire won't come back. I just don't want to keep anybody waiting or anticipating a return if I ever do return, because it may never come back. But yeah, I still stand by my decision. A lot of weight was lifted. I'm at peace with it. I just still just grieving.
You did write on your Instagram, we'll see what the future holds. And we know in fighting people come back, and you're so young and you're so talented, it wouldn't surprise me if in 3-4 years you do come back, or if you don't. We've seen it go both ways. If in fact you don't come back, what do you think you do now? What does this chapter look like?
Ultimately, I'm not sure. I'm not truly sure where it goes, but I do feel like I'll still be around the sport. I'll be involved in the sport in some way, shape, or form. I definitely would like to connect with like younger fighters and help them maneuver through anything that they're going through, and just be a veteran now. Just show them ways and show them things, and just help and give back. Especially to the fight community for sure. And yeah, I don't know, as far as like a career goes, and as far as like everything else, I'm not sure. I'm just gonna let God open doors and just just work His way. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll start doing interviews or something. I don't know. I think I'm well spoken. I think people would like to talk to me. Who knows?
I think you would be great on this side of the table. I think that would be a phenomenal idea. How do you feel about the sport? Like, do you think you'll be able to watch it, follow it? Do you need a bit of a break from the sport, a break from the gym? How do you feel about it right now?
Yeah, I think I need a little bit of a break. I don't know. I wouldn't say from the sport per se, but from the gym, I definitely do. I gotta get surgery soon. I think it's surgery. I think arthroscopic surgery. So we'll see.
Surgery on what?
My knee. I meniscus tear.
Did that happen in the fight or before the fight?
Yeah, before.
Okay, so you were going into that fight not at 100%.
Yeah, I didn't know that it was torn. I just thought like something happened. But like even in the fight, like when when we went to the ground, I felt it pop. I was like, oh, I was like, oh yeah. But just that's no takeaway. Like I think I'm fortunate for only having three. This would be my third surgery in 7 years of MMA.
Wow. And you're certainly not the only athlete, especially in the last few years, to speak about, dealing with mental health issues. And I think it's inspiring, and I think it's very commendable, especially as a fighter. You're perceived to be an alpha male. You're a tough, strong guy. Fighters don't want to speak on weaknesses and whatnot. But I'm wondering, since you have talked about this a little bit, have you heard from a lot of fighters who have reached out, or people who have reached out to say that you have been an inspiration in doing so?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of positive feedback and, a lot of motivation and, people telling me their stories and how they struggle, fighters struggling with their own and telling me I can get through it and, just being inspirational. And I feel like I've been more inspired by them than they've been inspired by me. So, yeah, I'm usually an open book, man. Like I don't really hide what's going on. I know there's people that can relate. I don't care about negative things that people have to say, and I'd rather be vulnerable in the public eye, so like other men can understand like it's okay, like you don't have to. You can be a fighter, and you don't have to be like, oh, this tough guy 24/7, because it's just gonna drain you. That's not realistic, everybody's different. There's some men that are like that, there's people that are like that, and then to each their own. Like, it's just, for me, that's just not me. And I don't mind talking about like what I'm going through mentally, the more you understand, like the more the dots connect, then I feel like there's more empathy involved, if people can understand and digest what I was going through.
100%.
And I feel like a lot of people just need to open up about it, and talk about it, because there are people that care. And yeah, like I didn't even think I was gonna get as much love from retirement as I got, because the last thing, all I could remember was a bunch of the hate from the Moicano fight. How many parlays I messed up.
Oh, fuck that, man. I can't believe you guys hear that stuff. I cannot believe I can't fathom writing that to an athlete. And I know you guys deal with it. You're not the only one to mention that, and it sucks, and it's so unfair. You guys don't deserve that. And I hope that you are now receiving more love. And this tends to happen, unfortunately. It's like when someone dies, they get all the love in the world. People tend to celebrate you only when you say goodbye, and that's not fair in its own right. But you deserve all of that. You are one of the best fighters in the best division in the UFC, with an incredibly high ceiling and still extremely exciting. Obviously you want to win all the fights, but win or lose, like Jalin Turner was never in a boring fight, and ultimately it comes down to entertainment, and everyone looked forward to your fights. And I know that you probably never envisioned it going down this way, and you certainly probably didn't envision walking away at 29. But can you look back on the body of work with fondness, or do you look back now with like through the lens of some of the sadness and regret? How do you look back on it now, or is it still too fresh?
It's still pretty fresh. I look back at it, and like I appreciate how far I've come, but also, it's not where I wanted to be. I wanted to go a ways further, So I haven't. If I think about it, if I think about it too much and I dwell on it too much, I'm just gonna just get overwhelmed mentally, and I might be like, all right, I'm coming out of retirement, knowing I'm not ready, like it's just, that's not healthy. So, because like I still, man, like when I started this in my backyard, like my dream was to be UFC champion, and I'm very proud of how far I've gotten, though, just a little kid training in his backyard, learned no direction, didn't know what I was gonna do with my life. About to graduate high school, didn't know about college. Just started training in my backyard, training with some friends, and the gym had a fight team trial, man, and I just went. I said, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give myself 4 years to fight in a big promotion, make my way, and I did. So just looking back at how far I have come and everything I have achieved and everything I went through, all the adversity I went through, everything I pushed through because I wanted to do it. That it gives me a lot of peace, and just knowing that I don't want to, feeling like I don't want to as badly or anywhere near as badly as that young man that started. That's dangerous, man. That's dangerous. Can't play with it.
Positive silver lining. You can now skateboard and not have to worry about getting injured or it affecting your MMA career. You can do whatever you want. You can switch tray. I do believe it's called. Is it called switching tray? Yes.
Yeah, switch tray.
Switch tray foot.
Yeah,
flip.
Tray flip. Yeah.
I blew it, Jalin. I blew it. I tried to sound cool and I didn't sound cool. But you could do those things, which you're very good at.
Yeah. I definitely want to get back on the board. I mean, I got to get this knee fixed, and then I can play, and then I got some more fun.
A member of our team, Alan, is very good friends with your one of your coaches, Ant Murataya Gonzalez, and he sent us this message to relay to you, if you don't mind me reading it before we say goodbye. He told us, being in your corner has been an indescribable joy and privilege. From the moment I saw your raw talent and fierce determination, I knew I was witnessing something special. Being a part of your journey meant more than just coaching. It meant sharing in the exhilaration of your progress, celebrating your victories, and learning from your challenges. This sport doesn't just remember champions, it remembers warriors. No matter what comes next, I'll always be in your corner. That's a profound impact and relationship that you have.
Yeah, and Ant's been a real one. He's always, man, I love that dude, man. Dang, I appreciate that.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah, when one of my previous coaches didn't corner me, so I asked Anthony to come corner me. We hadn't talked for a bit, and he still was open arms, to work with me again. I really appreciate that. That meant a lot. And man, having real genuine love, it always feels good. It feels good. Unconditional love feels good, and I appreciate him for that.
We appreciate you. A tremendous run, a tremendous career. If this is, in fact, the end, you should be incredibly proud. Not a lot of people get to the UFC. Not a lot of people are victorious in the UFC as much as you were. So thank you. Thank you for opening up. Thank you for sharing your emotions with us. And we'll just say see you later. Not goodbye. You're going to be a part of the sport, perhaps on the broadcasting side, the coaching side. You still have a lot to give. And you're still so very young, so we can see you back in there. But take your time. Be kind to yourself, get well, and thank you. I know this is not easy and probably not a fun interview to do, but I can't thank you enough for being as open, as candid as you have been.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you. Yeah,
all right.
I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Jalin. All the best to you. There he is, Jalin Turner. Really appreciate him very much, and not easy to talk about those things, not easy to express those feelings, to hear those thoughts and feelings, but a very real thing that fighters go through, that all athletes go through. And man, if there's one takeaway, if you're that kind of guy, if you're that kind of person that sends a fighter a message about a parlay or about, a bet or something, please just don't do it. And this stuff does affect them. This stuff does really poison their soul, their brains, their mindset. Why? You thought enough of them to bet on them going in. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. Please, for the love of God, if I can ask for one thing, if there's two things that I could wish for, no more Apex and no more parlay bet tweets to fighters who lose fights, especially not ones that are that talented, who probably have won you a whole bunch of money. Please, don't do it. Stop. No more. Let's move along. And again, thank you so much to Jalin Turner for that incredible interview. One of the big stars coming out of a hotbed of mixed martial arts right now, France. We've been talking about France, how great France has been, not just in mixed martial arts, but pro wrestling, boxing, just absolutely on fire when it comes to all things sport, basketball, football, combat sports. Everything is the last pirate. We've had him on before. His name is Morgan Charriere, and he's going up against Nathaniel Wood. It's a battle between a former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion against a former Cage Warriors featherweight champion. It goes down this Saturday in London at the O2, UFC London. Morgan, kind enough to join us. There he is. Salut, Morgan.
Hey.
How are you?
Salut. I'm all good, and you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for the time. It's great to have you and looking forward to this fight. I'm wondering, considering it's former champion at 135 Cage Warriors against former champion 145, is this a fight that you've been thinking about? Is this a fight that you thought was always going to happen, that you wanted?
Yeah. You're right. That's a fight that I was thinking that could happen one day, especially when I see that Nathaniel get up in a weight class. I was like, maybe one day I will face him. I think I was not in the UFC yet, watching when he jumped from a weight class, but I was already looking at me like, no, he's in my weight class. He could be a potential opponent.
You're coming off a great win back home in Paris. How are you feel? Do you feel, it's been up and down a little bit, but are you feeling like your confidence is high? How are you feeling about the state of your UFC career?
Yeah. Right now, I feel really confident and really happy about my 3 last performances in the UFC. It's like I've done my debut. I've had a great finish in my first fight in the UFC. Then a fight of the night against Mariscal. That was kind of a fight of the month on the UFC 300 same month. So, and then after another performances on Paris again with a big knockout again. And right now I'm facing Nathaniel Wood here in London that I know well, the city and Nathaniel. So yeah, right now I think the state of my career here in the UFC is pretty good. 3 fights, 3 main card fight, 3 bonuses. I couldn't expect better things to happen to me.
By the way, did you cut your hair?
No.
It's just a ponytail.
No, there.
Oh, it's there. Okay. It's because I saw it in the picture there, but it looks and that's your brand, right? Outsider.
Yeah, that's my brand.
That's amazing. What kind of gear? Like, how would you describe it?
It's a brand that reflects my identity, like being the outsider, just facing everything and trying hard to, just thrive in, get as far as you can, and just love your passion, be happy, and do some things with all your friends, and just live the life and be the outsider, embrace it.
Why do you feel like the outsider still?
Because I don't know why, but each time I fight or I do something, I'm always the outsider, or people are underestimating me.
Yeah.
In France or in the world, it's like every accomplishment I do is a bit diminished, and I always need to do more as the others do. I need to do more to have the same thing. So no, I embrace it, and it's part of me.
And even when you're fighting in Paris, in your home country, you feel like an outsider.
Yeah. Even in Paris, there's a lot of expectation around me, and they're always really, really hard on me. They wait. I don't know what they want more from me. So yeah, I always feel like I'm the outsider.
Do you feel like they are supporting you or waiting for you to fail?
It's kind of both. It's like I have big support that the people that follow me through my journey, that follow me to my YouTube channel or my social media, and there's a lot of people that are just waiting for me to
go
really sideways.
Why do you think that is? Because I always kind of viewed the French fans as some of the most loyal fans, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, you're wrong.
Okay. Wow. Is that something specific to you, or do you think that's the way they treat all the athletes?
No, that's the way they treat all the athletes. They are passionate people, but sometimes social media, they make them, I don't know, kind of so free to throw things at fighter, that they want to spread negativity around fighter that are getting too much media or too much haze on them. They I don't know why they wait for them to fall. Secretly, they're just waiting to be able to put meme on your face and do bad things to tear you down.
Do you feel like they're this way towards fighters specifically, or like I think of, Victor Wembanyama and some of the football players, Mbappe and Benzema, these guys, are they like that to all the athletes, or is it just a fighting thing?
No. That's same for all the sport, especially football. Hard for football guys like Mbappe. It's hard to be in his shoes. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Everybody is just trying to wait for him to make a wrong step, and he will be in all the media.
I ask you these questions because I was in Paris for the Olympics this summer, and I saw so much pride, fierté. Like the French pride was so on display that I thought it was beautiful. How it seemed like for any time an athlete was competing, any event, it seemed like the whole country was stopping. But maybe that was just an Olympic thing.
Yeah, that's a big Olympic thing, and that's like we have two big sides. There's the big patient, the big support, and there's the big negativity side. It's like we have both. You need to have both. That's the balance. If there's passion in it, there's a lot of negativity. If you lose all these things, the support when things don't go your way, you go away, then it's pretty tough. Like Cyril, when you lose to Jones, it was hard here for me.
Yeah.
For him.
Is that part of the reason why you consider yourself the last pirate?
That's one of the reasons I consider myself the last pirate, because when I was in the cage warrior, I was trying to make my way to the UFC. I didn't have a lot of support. I had a lot of support from the guys that was looking through me, through my YouTube channel and all the stuff I was doing. But for the big mainstream people, when I get some losses, it started to get hard for me. The public opinion is really changing like this in France.
Yeah. I remember when we spoke, you were still in Cage Warriors. Has the UFC experience been what you expected it to be, or has it been different?
No, it's way better than I expected to be. It's like that's really the big show. I'm so happy to be here and fighting here against top competition, top level. Be there in big event, facing just living the sport like I've dreamed about. Just performing in front of so much people and be able to showcase my skills like this and be treated this well. It's like, UFC make you understand that you are really an athlete and that sport is big.
And by the way, you mentioned your YouTube channel a couple of times, but I think you haven't posted on there in like the last 4 or so months. How come?
Yeah. It's because I'm focused on fighting.
Okay.
I'm focused on fighting. All focus are on it because I have a lot of experience now, and I know that social media, YouTube stuff, all that kind of stuff, that's cool, but it can take you from you, and fighting is unforgiven. So I don't want to lose an opportunity or make something wrong at the beginning here at my career in the UFC. I want everything to be perfect. So all my focus is in fighting. I've made the work to be known in France and all of this stuff. So right now, all I need to do is racking up performances on performances, and from now I'm doing it.
So even leading up to the fight on Saturday, posting nothing?
No, nothing on YouTube. Only on my Instagram, there will be a pretty crazy trailer video like I know to do.
Oh.
But nothing on YouTube. Yeah. I can tease if tomorrow there's a first glimpse that's drop at 5 p.m. UK time, and then on Friday after the wedding, I think 6 p.m. on UK time, there's the big one trailer coming out, and you will see what the last year is all about.
Okay, I look forward to that. By the way, I know you're into like motorsports and stuff, like bikes. And do you do that leading up to the fight, or do you stop doing all of that just in case, to be safe?
I don't know if I can say.
Oh, okay. Maybe that says it all. Maybe that's the answer.
But it's like traffic in Paris is hard, so I need to be on the motorbike at least to go to training.
Oh, right. Of course. Do you wear a helmet at least?
Yeah. Helmet is mandatory here in France.
Okay. All right. You get a ticket.
No, harder than a ticket. It's like you don't want to go through a bike without a helmet. It's impossible here in France. Impossible. Even cars will stop you. No cops. Everyone will stop you if you go without a helmet in France.
Oh wow. Okay. By the way, you and I, we were colleagues. We're both on the Netflix show, The Cage, La Cage. You know that? Me and you, we were on the same thing. You saw that?
Yeah, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, we're big time on Netflix. Look at us.
Yeah, big time. First MMA series like this was on Netflix, done by a French producer with all the French stars. So here in France, it was pretty big because all the fighters were in it. There was me, there was Saladin, there was Cyril, there was the Lazy King, everyone.
Yeah, no, amazing. Really, really cool. And a first for me. I'd never been in something like that before.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah, I want to do more. I want to go to Hollywood.
Yeah, maybe, who knows?
By the way, why didn't Saladin Parnas, why didn't he sign with the UFC?
Our brother is making too much money in case to value.
Okay. Were you surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. And he is right. Like everyone is fighting for his own reason.
Yeah.
He started really young fighting, like 11 maybe. He has a family to take care of. He has a young daughter. The sport is unforgiven. So, he's in KSW. He has a great pay. So for now, I think he's doing the right thing. But I'm not his manager. I'm nothing.
Sure.
He can do whatever he wants. But I think taking the money is righteous.
Can I ask about someone you train with, Taylor Lapilus? What happened there? What do you make of that situation? He's no longer in the UFC after being 3-1.
I think right now he's free agent. He did not been released. It just his contract finished. So I think they are in talks, but he is looking for opportunity to, get paid more or have bigger fight because right now he's a bit getting older.
Okay.
From of his career, so he's trying to get some money, some recognition because I think he's one of the best bantamweight in the world. He could be easily top 15, but he hasn't yet had the opportunity to show it. So, yeah, he's talking with the UFC and all this kind of stuff. But again, I'm not his manager, so I don't know what their plan are. I just know that he loves UFC, but he's getting older, so he's looking for opportunity or at least know where he's going.
I do believe your team, US Metro Bizot, is that how, or Bizot?
Bizot, yeah.
Bizot, excuse me. I should have known that. You're investing a lot in the amateur scene and trying to bring up youngsters in the French scene. How is that going, and how do you feel about the state of French MMA from the pro to the amateur ranks?
French MMA is exploding. It's like that's crazy here. I think none other country can see what happened here. It started with all we have done on social media, but right now all the kids, they're all in gyms. It's like every MMA gym is full, mats are full. And here in US Metro, we are pushing excellence. It's like that's really the best amateur. We have programmed to develop them. There are specific training time for amateur, and then there's the amateur that are really high skills or really good, or already fighting in big leagues that train with us pro. And brother, their level, it's incomparable of what we have been us as amateur. It's like the next generation, we have a good French fighter, but I think the next generation is really going to shock the world. It's like they've trained on everything and they see what my generation is doing. So they are taking notes. We are teaching them everything we know. And so they are as good as me on social media, and they are as good as every top fighter they will be on skill levels. Like they will bring the whole package. They will be crazy kids. Right now, just in amateur scene, they do things that pro doesn't even do. And yeah, I'm looking for them. It's like, you will see in a couple years there will be some bigger name than they are right now.
I was wondering, is boxing as popular, or is it just MMA? Because I hear so much about MMA in France, but not as much about boxing. Some fighters, there was Bruno Soras who beat Jaime Munguia in December, but you don't hear about as much of a, I don't know, of a fan base, of an excitement. Is it the same, or is MMA way more popular?
No, MMA is way more popular. It's like, yeah, we're taking it by storm. Boxing, they're a bit too shy on social media, and so they've gotten being eaten by MMA fighter. We hit them on the majors, on the show skills, on the show when we are fighting, taking the mic, the trash talk, all this kind of stuff. Boxing is a bit too in the old school way here in France, and they don't talk as much as us MMA fighter to the younger generation who are always on, TikTok, Instagram, all this kind of stuff. And UFC, they play a big role. UFC, each time they come here in France, it had something. It put really a lot of light on MMA, and there's non-promotion in boxing that do what UFC is doing here in France, even one time a year. So yeah, boxing need to find a star in France. There are some really good young upcomer. There's Bakary Samake that's really good, and other French guys that pushing the sport here, the boxing sport. So, but thanks to MMA, I think it's pushing right now the boxing scene because since MMA has become legal and it's getting bigger, we are seeing more boxing. We are seeing more MMA fighter going sparring with boxer here in France, and he made a lot of talk on social media and all of these things. So MMA is helping boxing to get back to where it was before, and yeah, I hope boxing will be bigger so all these guys can have what we have right now.
I saw earlier today you were signing the posters. Is that you? You're wearing a necklace, and it looks like there's a person there. Is that you on the necklace?
Yeah, let me get it.
That's crazy. Wow.
That's the last pirate.
How many diamonds there?
I don't know, bro.
That's a lot. Wow, that is incredible. Who made that?
Chain Nation.
Is that a gift or you got it? You asked for it?
Boss, I will say.
Okay.
I didn't pay for it, but we made a big collaboration. We throw some jewelry for the public with my hat, like just this part.
Yeah.
And so I got this, as a gift, the last pirate.
Did you also get a tattoo of yourself?
Yeah. You know everything.
I know. There it is. Right?
Yeah.
What does that represent?
It represents everything. It represents the beginning. It's like, that's the last pirate. That's the mask. That's the first time I put an edit on Instagram. That's the thing that started the whole thing. That's this mask that I created. And then it just stayed with me all through the Cage Warrior. When it was COVID time and there was, no public, nothing, you had to do something more to get the eyes on you. And when I won the belt, I had the mask, and it made such an impact when it was COVID time and everything was closed during lockdown that, it's kind of my identity. It came with me. It's part of something I've done. So yeah, I have it in me now.
I love that mask. Do you walk out with it for the UFC events?
No, never.
Why?
Yet with the UFC, because UFC, they want to see your face. Hard to get a mask on.
The mask is great.
Yeah, so maybe one day they will let me, but right now I think I'm not as big fighter as I can. Maybe when I will be a bigger fighter, they will let me come with my mask, and I would do some pretty crazy entrance.
Yes, we need that. I want more of that. I love that. I love when fighters are into selling themselves and are unique, are different. So you want to wear the mask. They're just saying right now you can't.
Yeah. I didn't ask right now to wear the mask because I want to wear it for something that means. I don't want to wear it like each time I make an entrance. I want, when I put the mask on, you know where you're getting.
Okay, fair enough. You're going to work your way up. I understand that. Do you like the idea of being, you're fighting a Brit, a Londoner in London. Yeah. So you're probably, and you're French, you're probably not going to be, cheered very, very loud. Do you like the idea of being sort of the bad guy on Saturday?
Yeah, I love it. The last pirate is like, I don't care. I am the bad guy. I finish people. I knock them out. I am the bad guy. I want to hurt them. So being in enemy territory, being these guys, bring it on. Like, that's my whole career. That's my identity. When I started MMA in France, it wasn't legal, so I needed every time fighting the local guys in the enemy territory, being buoyed or whatever, being in the worst condition you can, the worst local room you can find. Everything was on me. So it's like right now I'm in the UFC and I'm fighting Lode O2 Arena. It's like, come on, it's like easy to do it here. And London is not new to me.
Yeah.
The UK, they all know me. They've seen me fighting here in Cage Warrior and doing all this stuff. Now it will be a crazy fight. So yeah, I don't think I'm the bad guy here. I think we are both together put to put on a spectacular show.
I love it. How do you see it playing out? How do you see the fight playing out?
I don't know. I think we'll do a pretty great striking war. We'll try to knock out each other. I think Nathaniel has really a great package. He's complete fighter. It's hard to finish him. I'm hard to be finished. So we're pretty going for a 50-minute war, I think. But I hope I will get the finish because that's what I would try for.
And by the way, shout out to your, I believe your girlfriend, Julina, who's a world Muay Thai champion, Julina Nilusmas.
K1. She do K1.
K1. Is Nilusmas? How do you pronounce her last name?
Nilusmas.
Yes. Do you spar with her? Do you train with her?
Yeah. One time a week we train together, and when we are in vacation, we train together. She's 5-time world champion in K1, 5-time national champion, 3-time European champion, undefeated 48-0, I think.
Wow.
This girl is a monster.
Wait, what? How much does she weigh? What weight class?
56 kilo.
56 kilo. What is that? Let me see here. 56 kg to
weight.
123.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Will she be at the fight on Saturday?
Yeah. It's coming. She's coming.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it. Everything you're doing is great. Very fun. I enjoy your personality and how you market yourself. So keep it up. And of course, the fights are great as well. 3 bonuses and 3 UFC fights. So looking forward to another on Saturday night. Bon courage. Merci beaucoup. J'apprécie. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Morgan.
Thank you so much. See you soon.
All right. There he is. Morgan Charriere, the last pirate. What a great character. And what a fun guy to root for. Kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. A bit of a, an outsider like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash back in the day. They got a lot of style over there in France. I don't know if you guys know this, but I spent a lot of time over there this past summer, and I was very impressed.
Who, me? Adam good.
They've come a long way. They used to not be known to be like very cool, very hip. The French are very hip now. They're very hip.
Very hip.
Don't be fooled. I mean, they're killing it on the sporting scene. Wemby, unbelievable.
It's true that combat sports was illegal over there?
Oh, yeah. MMA, up until very, very recently. It was one of those things. The likes of Czech Congo couldn't fight in his home country. They were one of the last major countries. Maybe there's still 1 or 2 left. I think Denmark still. But, I mean, they were a massive kind of hole in the global domination map for mixed martial arts and the UFC in particular. And it was always talked about, they should come there. But I don't think anyone predicted this. I don't think anyone thought. I think people thought it would be like, a nice little market, have a couple stars, have a couple of people. But the explosion from the fighters, from the gyms, from the fans, from the media. Shout out to our friends at La Sueur. I see they do great stuff over there on their YouTube and on their social media, on their website. All the crowds are just unbelievable.
I was going to say that first show back in 2022.
Oh my God.
That's what really put them on the map of, wow, they take this stuff seriously.
When they do that thing when they start to sing the national anthem in the middle of the fights.
Incredible.
Is there any other country that does that? I don't think so.
Yeah.
You don't hear them singing God Save the King in the middle of a fight. Like, will they do that this weekend? Probably not.
Probably not.
But they're singing da 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 La Marseillaise. And actually, he said in his post-fight interview after the win in September that he heard them singing it in a previous fight, and it gave him like a jolt going into his fight. So, yeah, I think it's wonderful. I think it's absolutely great. And yesterday, it's not France, but yesterday, what a scene it was in Brussels, in Belgium. That crowd, initially I thought, why are they saving, John Cena's first appearance on television for an afternoon show here in the United States in Brussels, not known to be a hotbed, but again, they prove that they know what they're doing, we don't. That crowd in Brussels for John Cena's first appearance since turning heel was unbelievable. Like they understood the assignment. They knew exactly, and you could tell, I feel like deep down inside, if you haven't watched it, WWE has uploaded it. It's a 30-minute segment of him coming out, and you could tell, like you could kind of see deep down inside, he's loving this. He's never gotten a chance to play the role. He's become an accomplished actor now, so he's probably relishing the opportunity of being the bad guy. But that crowd knew exactly what they had to do. And I've never heard anyone do this. I've never heard a crowd do this. Like when the song started playing, dun, 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 John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. They were singing that. It was amazing. Oh, it was incredible. This poor kid buys the Brussels merch and gets called a total loser by John Cena. And you know what I loved about it? I actually thought it was brilliant. Everyone thought he'd come out like wearing all black with a beard, change his music. He came out looking the exact same. It was brilliant. If I can nitpick about one thing, I felt the promo, like there was, if I could just nitpick about one small thing.
Tell us, hurry up. Get to it.
Man.
Okay, so it was a little whiny, and I understand that a heel is supposed to be whiny.
Yeah.
But it felt almost too predictable in that it was like, you guys have always played me like a puppet. Like, you don't care about what I want. You don't care about me. And it's like, no, they do care about you. Like, they've had your back. And yes, there was the whole, like, let's go Cena sucks thing. I would have liked if the promo focused more on why he did what he did to Cody Rhodes. Like, it's less about my relationship with you guys, and I understand that's the way you have to go when you're trying to become a heel and turn on everyone. That's what Hulk Hogan did back in '96. But if they would have gone back to some sort of period 10, 15 years ago, because Cody has talked about sitting outside a crappy hotel with his future wife, Brandy, and has talked about seeing the trucks with John Cena's face on it and hating John Cena because he was what he thought he was going to be. Cena was what Cody thought he was going to be. And I think he told it to us. I believe he had a Yoo-hoo, and I believe he threw it at the truck. And this is when he was miserable in WWE and when he knew his time was coming to an end. And so I thought, and there's still plenty of time, there's still, about a month before WrestleMania, I thought he would go back to being like, you've never wanted what's best for me. You've never had my back, and now you're the top guy, and you think that I'm just going to roll over and let you be the top guy when you were trying to do everything in your power to take me down as the top guy, when you were jealous of me, when you were throwing drinks at the sight of my face. You've always wished bad upon me. So screw you. I'm not going to be a part of your little story. This is all about Cody. You're the American dream son. You got to finish your story. What about my damn story? What about my fucking story? I want to be the one with 18 times, wearing the belt. I'm the one who gave everything to this business. You turned your back on this company. You went out there and built a competitor to this company. You tried to take us down. You took a sledgehammer and you smashed Triple H's throne on their first show. You're not the face of this company. I'm the face of this company. And when I come back, everyone's telling me about how great you are, about what you have meant to this company, about you finishing the story. You're in a thing with The Rock. You're on the cover of everything. You're the face of the company. You're the first one to come out on Netflix. No, what about me? Come on, tell me that's not fire.
It's good, but my question is that heel?
That's heel.
That feels like people will get behind that. People will be like, yeah, he's right.
Cena.
I know you were saying it. I was like, yeah,
he's right. You're cooking right now, but you're right. You're not heel. You're not healing off. You're actually you're speaking.
You're playing
truth.
babyface at that point.
That's babyface.
I think Cody is so beloved that people.
Yeah, that's fair. I could buy that.
People will view that as him being jealous.
I feel like he's spitting truth.
Maybe he rips it out when he's in front of Cody.
Off the top of the dome, that was a pretty damn good promo.
Not bad.
That was a pretty damn good promo. I went from the Yoo-hoo to this to that to building the competitor to take us down.
I think he's got to get the cheap heat right now.
Yeah,
just got to get the cheap heat. And they've got the kids crying on the Twitter. I mean, what's cheap?
I mean, that shit is like nothing I've ever seen. The way the crowd reacted the second his music hit, they immediately jump in and chanting "Cena sucks." It was deafening. It was like you could barely even hear the music.
You know what that sound reminded me of? It reminded me of, obviously for a much shorter period of time, but it actually reminded me of Brian Battle in Paris, where it sounds like a swarm of bees. They get so loud with the hissing and the booing over there. We don't have that type of passion in America. If that show was in Chicago or Minnesota or St. Louis or even New York, I don't think it's that loud. There's something about the passion of the European fans that is just different.
It's different. I do think a boo could get pretty loud in Philly you're.
I understood. They understood what they had to do in that moment.
I feel like there's a passion and there's also a they rarely get WWE shows there, especially in Belgium. So it's all got to be diehard fans pulling up to it.
I think it's more of an awareness of like how big a part of the show they are. Right? They know. We are part of this relationship, and we are delivering, and they delivered. They definitely delivered.
It was so good.
I mean, the custom Belgium merch
was great.
It's just insane.
So, that was his thing, because he's on this retirement tour, right? And so every city that they've gone to, like when they were in Toronto, he had Blue Jays inspired merch.
But were they selling it as well?
Yeah.
WWE sells it in each one. Wow, that's pretty damn good.
Oh, it's brilliant.
That's pretty damn good.
Yes, the last time is now. And so most people thought, okay, he's a heel now. They're not going to do it anymore, because what's the main thing that we always heard about Vince McMahon? Vince McMahon at WWE, when he was at the helm, he didn't want to turn him heel for two reasons. He was the number one merch guy and the Make-A-Wish stuff. I can't do it. And so for them to continue is not what anyone expected at all. Not even close.
Okay, but now
everyone thought that he would show up in like black. He would have like word life. This is basic thugonomics music, like mean, angry music. It's the same thing. I think it's brilliant.
Okay, but here's a question now. That kid probably bought the merch and he's still like, oh, I love John Cena. Does the merch now become for the people who are the heel fans, for the people who are not like, who want to boo John Cena, or is it for the support? I can't actually it's too meta. I don't know who's going to buy the merch.
Can you be fan of a heel?
Are you a
want
fan?
to see the evil guy?
Yeah. I mean, look at NWO.
Yeah.
Some of the most quote unquote popular. It's different now. And the other thing he said, this was a great line, and this is kind of the mode that they're in now. I'm not a baby face. I'm not a heel. I'm human.
What a heel line that is.
Yeah, it's so
such
good.
a heel line.
But it's so good to mention baby face and heel, because people are like,
they pop for the wrestling lingo. It's great.
I mean, the human line is ridiculous.
They're breaking the fourth wall.
It's so heel. What a heel line it is to say you're not a heel.
Man, what a crowd. That crowd was amazing.
Great.
God, I love that.
You just have to watch the social clip for 10 seconds and you're like, holy shit.
The second that music hits, it's insane.
And then Cody was good too. Cody came out. He said, I
actually didn't even see it.
Oh yeah, he comes out
I saw Cena.
And he's basically like, I want to go up against John Cena at WrestleMania, not this whiny bitch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of curse words these days.
Maybe that was the ploy. Like he wanted to sound whiny, and then Cody called him.
I thought it was maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the whiniest, it was just a smidge too whiny.
We're ramping up to it, man.
Yeah.
We're ramping up to it. Still got a month till WrestleMania.
And by the way, yesterday, speaking of which, I'm watching Knicks Heat, and I swear all of a sudden I'm like, is that Vince McMahon in the front row? And then I type in Vince McMahon Knicks on Twitter, and lo and behold, Vince McMahon in the front row.
Looking good, baby.
How about that?
St. Patty's decked out.
Oh yeah, he's got the green on for St. Patty's. Got a little splash of white on the front.
What's happening with that? What's going on in the front over there?
Hey, no, there's something new.
Is that
little rebrand for Vinny M?
But is that calculated, or is that just au naturel?
No, that's calculated. Come on.
So what are we saying? What are we saying to the barber or to the
It's
stylist?
calculated, or he ran out of just for men.
What are we saying?
You say, don't touch the white.
Yeah.
Don't touch the white, or make this more white.
Yeah, give this a touch of white on the front and then jet black the rest of the way.
What a look.
Go Silver Fox, man.
Just the whole thing?
Yeah, whole thing.
Let's see it one more time if we may.
The skin doesn't match the jet black hair.
You think just go fully
white, man. Own into it.
The double green, how do we feel about that one?
No, love it.
So what's green here? What's green here? The shirt is green?
The shirt and the jacket.
And
God.
the jacket.
I thought it was pink.
Your colorblind.
Stop with
is
that.
crazy.
No, seriously, I could.
I wonder if
it is the
did that
greenest
intentionally.
green.
And what about the jacket? The jacket's
Super green.
I mean, he's about to turn 80. Let's just go full gray. It's all good. all good, man.
Wait, the jacket's green too? It's not gray?
Green as possible.
No.
What?
It's green.
Green
It's
is all
possible.
green.
Now, do you think that was a coincidence or was that done on purpose?
Calculated. St. Patrick's Day. It's all calculated.
No, we learned that when you wear green on St. Patrick's Day, it's a coincidence.
It's a coincidence.
Yeah.
No one does
This was
that.
not
No one
planned.
it. No
We
one
both
planned
wore
it.
green.
Yeah. By the way, Andy, what do you think of the hair? What do you think? Good look, or should he just let it go?
I'm a fan of like gray hair in general.
Just let it go.
You know,
Silver
X-Men
Fox.
Storm, like that's a vibe. So he should just do it, man. Just
Yeah.
run with it.
You're 80.
Jade Cargill-esque. I think she dies.
She might die.
Yeah.
Do you think she?
I
You think so?
I don't know if is it a wig? Maybe she.
Yeah.
Brandon Phillips. Is it Brandon Phillips? Yeah, I think Brandon Phillips, her husband. Did you know that? Did we talk about this?
I don't know who that is.
Shortstop, Cincinnati Reds, Cleveland.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were talking about different Brandon Phillips. I'm like, oh, Brandon.
Yeah,
all
you
right.
remember him, Brandon Phillips? It's Brandon Phillips, right?
That's her husband?
Brandon.
Cincinnati Reds.
Am I right about this?
Shout out to the Reds, man.
Wow.
Shout out to the Reds.
Shout out Brandon Phillips.
Yeah, Jade Cargill. They have a daughter. They met in 2015. They've been together ever since. They own a sports team.
Wow.
Apparently.
Oh, I did know that.
I had no idea.
A soccer team?
Is it a soccer team?
What's the name of it?
This whole conversation and the inflection
that
going
tone?
up and up and up. Did she?
No, I can't see which team it is.
I think it's a soccer team.
Is it a soccer team?
Brandon Phillips?
Unless I'm mistaken.
Soccer team? Like, is it like a...
Oh, yeah, the Texas Smoke.
yes.
Softball. Women's fast pitch.
Softball. Wow.
Someone else owns that. Someone else is in that ownership group with them.
Women's professional fast pitch? The WPF?
Yeah, Texas Smoke. Shout out to Jenny Finch, man.
Oh, yeah. Is she in it too?
No.
She was like the face of softball back
Legend.
in the day.
Legend.
I didn't know there was a professional fast pitch league.
Now you do. Thanks to Brandon Phillips and Jade Cargo.
It should probably be WPFP, because fast pitch seems like it's two words, is it not? WPF, WPFP, WPF. Anyway, shout out to all of them. And if you didn't watch that segment, I thought it was great. If I'll say it's an 8 out of 10, 7.5 out of 10. Is that fair? I think the boys over at uncrown.com weren't blown away by it. The vibe was a little bit different. Go check it out. Heel John Cena has officially arrived. Did his big WWE Raw debut miss the mark? They've been killing it over there.
Crowd was 10 out of 10. Anything else I don't really care about.
Well, I mean, you want to know about the evolution of the character, you know?
Oh, no. I'm not speaking about the article. The article is great. It's incredibly informative. I'm talking about my rating for it.
The crowd was
10
12 out of 10.
Yeah.
12 out of 10.
Crowd was 12 out of 10.
Coming up later today, my friends, we will have multiple guests on the Ariel and Ade program, including Sebastian Fundora, who is also in action this weekend. Could be next for Virgil Ortiz. Shanika Sugar Neeks Johnson, who was involved in a very bizarre ending of her last fight, returning. She's on that Sydney card on Matchroom on DAZN this Saturday in Sydney. So we have much to discuss. In addition to that, some talk about a Tank Davis-Lamont Roach rematch on the 21st of June. Potentially that's being thrown around, and a lot of stuff that happened over this past weekend. I can't really shake, I got to be honest, I can't really shake the Jalin Turner conversation. I can't really shake, like, I don't know, the emotion and the feelings and connecting, like the connective tissue between the Bobby Green fight. Remember how controversial that was, but it wasn't really his. Like, I didn't feel, and obviously we're not in his shoes, I didn't feel like he was the one getting the heat. I felt like it was the referee, Kerry Hatley, who was getting the heat. But then the connective tissue between that fight and then the Moicano fight and then what we saw 2 Saturdays ago is kind of wild. And I had not made that connection. Obviously, we needed him to spell it out. But that was, I was reminded a little bit of, like, do you remember... Rick, you remember Frankie Perez?
Yeah, there was a few like that, and
guys who just out of nowhere retired. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but also one of the through lines is, and we've heard it before, and I was struggling to think of who we've heard it from, but I don't want to hurt people.
Yes.
It's a very specific thing to hear a fighter say something like that. And it's not the thing, like, naturally when it comes to when everybody saw the Moicano fight, instantaneously it was he was trying to be cool. You know, he was trying to walk off, he was trying to be cool. And he said as much that everybody, you know, was saying that. But it was a completely different thing kind of going on in his head, and it's not something you would often hear from a fighter. In fact, very rarely, and most of the time not open enough to say that. So, yeah, it you know, back here I was definitely reacting in a way that I just appreciated Jalin Turner's openness and honesty about that, because you don't hear that. You really don't.
This feels like a great Ben Folks article, him talking to a few guys who just kind of lose that killer instinct, that desire to hurt people, because it is something that you have to wrestle with. And we have met so many guys who are so calm, so docile, so, you know, just so pleasant, so nice. And then you're like, when does the flip get switched? When does that happen? And how do you balance the two? Your personality that is so completely different than the person we see in the cage. And I feel like most MMA fighters are actually quite like that, just sort of like mild-mannered, calm. There used to be this stigma that they're barroom brawlers, but not the case. Very, very introspective, very smart, very thoughtful.
And the way it kind of led him to doing the opposite against someone that he didn't even want to fight, in his friend in Bobby Green.
Yes.
Is just crazy. It really is wild, because, I mean, he is one of the most vicious dudes at 155, and to hear behind the scenes that he isn't even sure he really wants to even hurt people. And honestly, him being that open about just 313 and how, like, he was like, man, I did not want to go out there. It was touching stuff from Jalin Turner,
Yeah.
for sure.
A couple of other things I want to touch on before we go. What about Dricus du Plessis watching the Alex Pereira fight against Magomed Ankalaev and saying that the aura was gone? Do we agree or disagree?
Disagree. I thought it was a bad performance, but
yeah,
let him go spark someone in round one the very next time out, and
the same guy.
The aura will be right back.
The same guy. If he comes back and beats Ankalaev, he's right back there.
Yeah, if he gets redemption and knocks out Magomed Ankalaev, it'll be like it never happened.
Yeah, he was probably upset, and he said it, that a potential super fight out the window, and it may not be. I mean, this could just be, you know, a roadblock, a blip on the radar. He is getting up there in age, but I never felt like we were close to getting DDP versus Pereira anyway. It's not like it was, oh, you got to get by. If anything, it felt like, oh, you know, you get by him, and now we're talking about Aspinall, Jones, Usyk, that type of stuff.
Yeah, it felt more like Alex would be the one steering that.
Yeah. By the way, much closer to Alex going up than DDP.
Right.
I agree. Well, DDP has work to do at middleweight, but man, he's killing it right now. It came to mind. The person who I was thinking of.
Please.
Rory McDonald.
Rory McDonald.
It was Rory McDonald.
Yes.
And
I remember that.
There,
oh my God.
King Mo saying the Rory convo
oh my God.
inspired his own. And that was what was coming to mind for me.
Yes.
The Rory McDonald convo.
Now the difference is Rory a little older.
No, yeah. Jalin Turner's also by that time already more accomplished, right? Rory had already done so much in the UFC.
Oh my gosh.
Went over to Bellator. But there's certain guys who open up about the idea of, like, I just lost that will to hurt people. I was there. And Turner said it. He knows skill-wise he can hang with anybody. Physical gifts, like you just look at him, you see the frame that he has. You know that he's equipped to do this, but just lost the will. But respect for the brutal honesty with himself. Respect for him opening up to us about that. And wish him well, just in life. Like, you know, this fight game is not the be-all, end-all, and good on him for recognizing it.
So you know what's wild? I say Rory was older. Rory first said that, if you recall, in the cage after the draw against John Fitch in 2019. He was 29.
Oh, there you go.
But he actually stuck around.
He stuck, and then he said this again
kept
on the
saying
later
it,
end.
and it just kept feeling like he had, after that John Fitch fight in April of 2019, he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more fights.
Yeah.
And went something like 2-5, if my math is correct, or maybe 3-5 here. So
I feel like it was really the end of the Bellator run where that kind of solidified for me.
The Fitch fight was his third to last Bellator fight. Then he fought Gracie, and then Lima. That's a perfect one. Now also Rory, like, you know, took a lot of damage and a bit of a different career, but fantastic. Absolute great comparison there. Ian Gary, I was talking about him. Here's the actual quote, courtesy of an article on MMA Fighting. Quote, I had a chat with my agent, that's Lloyd Pearson. I rang him when they told me this news. Now he's referring to Jack Della getting the title shot against Bilal. And I was livid. Still am to this day. I had a number one contenders fight where the guy now has to get his knee reconstruction surgery and is out for a year. But, it's not my fault. I didn't stab his knee 20-something times and boot the leg off. I'm not fighting for a world title because I'm coming off a loss and they're giving it to a guy who's been injured for a year and they think that's more exciting. But they are wrong. The world title was meant to be Shavkat taking on Bilal Muhammad for the world title, but Shavkat apparently is out injured. I wonder how that happened, which they then cut to an image of Ian attacking Rakhmanov's knee. That's back in December. Now they're pulling in a guy who hasn't fought in a year because he's had an operation on his forearm because he broke it in his last fight, hasn't fought in a long time, hasn't been active. So they're giving it to Jack Della Maddalena to fight Bilal Muhammad because I'm coming off a loss. That's okay. I'll get you all. You're all mine. Do I think I won the fight against Shavkat? No. I believe on that night and to this day that Shavkat won 3 rounds and I won 2. Respect. But I was very close to winning that fight. In my mind, I was a takedown away from winning the fight, and I would love to run it back one day. And I would love to avenge that loss, and I'm excited because I believe that guy is going to hold the belt one day. We said it, we both knew, and I said it that fight week. I believe me and Shavkat are going to meet each other far more than once in our careers. He ends by saying, I would like to fight International Fight Week, June 28th. I don't care who. I don't care who they want to put in front of me. I just want to fight and prove that I am the best in the world. By the way, I don't think he has I don't think he's off base. I think he has a case. He could have been called. I don't think do you think people would have been up in arms if Ian Gary got the title shot over Jack Della?
No, not at all. There was no clear next guy. It was Shavkat.
Yeah. And
so I don't think anybody would have been up in arms, but nor do I think it's a particularly compelling case to be like, I should have been the guy. I don't agree with that either. Like, I think it was just next man up.
When you bring up the fact that, you had a main event, you had to reconfigure things to adjust. He did lose a close one to Shavkat, but lost fair and square. Jack Della hadn't fought since, March of last year. He has a very strong case. If Jack Della had been on this long winning streak and just fought in November, December, he'd be like, yo, this guy's been active. But it's a compelling case. He seems pissed that he wasn't. I think there was a phone call for him to fight Leon, and I think Leon confirmed that yesterday, but I don't think he was interested in that.
I'm not as compelled.
I wonder how the people would have reacted to it.
I think people would have been fine. I don't think anybody would have been upset.
You don't think?
Because I don't think, is anybody going, Jack Della, thank God he got it. Like, nobody's, particularly in the camp of this person had to be the one. It was Shavkat or whoever.
Honestly, the fact that Ian took that fight against Shavkat and was that competitive with him gives him a claim to the title in these circumstances.
I wonder who he fights. Again, I think he should fight the winner of this fight. Both guys have a history with him. Both guys have wanted to fight him, and I think that could be a number one contender fight.
This fight, you're talking about Leon and Sean.
Leon and Sean.
Sure.
There's still Kamaru out there.
Floating.
I'd rather see Leon and Sean winner versus
Buckley.
Oh, actually.
Yeah, Buckley's still out there. There's a lot of guys at 170.
You might have got me with that.
I kind of want to see, honestly, I want to see Buckley versus Usman and Leon, Sean winner versus
I'm fine with
Ian.
that. Let's do that.
Cool with that.
I'll run that.
Like, use Usman as a way to get Buckley over if you can. And then, he's still build him up just a little bit more and Ian fighting the winner of Ian versus Leon would be incredible.
Ian.
That's what we'll call it. Eon.
The Eon battle.
I want. There's something about that matchup and the history there and the backstory and the training.
I think that would be fun.
Irish
I think that'd be a
versus
lot of fun.
English.
Yes, and I think Brady versus Ian would be great too. Remember, Brady after he beat Gilbert Burns, called out Ian. Now they're both managed by the same guy, but that doesn't really matter.
They'll fight. They would fight.
Oh hell yeah! I just think Lloyd probably wouldn't want it to happen.
No, sure.
Same predicament that Tim was in when they booked
it
Jack
can't
Della.
It can't be fun. You just have to stay out. You just let them do the business.
Tomorrow on the program, we will answer your questions as always. arielhelwani.substack.com is where you can send said questions. arielhelwani.com where you can get merch, which I don't have any here. We will be joined by Corey Sanhagen, who is going to be headline the much talked about UFC Des Moines card, which we found out yesterday everyone's going to, except for me. It's going to be a grand old time over there in the what is it? The
actually, no one is going
the Corn
except
State?
for me and Rick.
The Corn. Well, you said there was one other person.
Oh yeah, camera guy Nick.
Yeah,
I don't view that as part of the team.
The Corn State.
Is it? There's no chance.
What is it? It's
Oh no, it's Iowa State.
It's the Iowa is the
Quad Cities.
Is that?
No, that is.
They are the Hawkeye State.
The Hawkeye
State.
Shout out. What's the Quad Cities?
The Quad Cities are
Des Moines.
There is
4 of them.
There is a
thank you.
There is a triangulation. There is an area where
That
those
would be
Quad
a
Cities are.
quadrilateral.
Well, I learned about the triangular trade with my son. This was the 13 colonies with the West Indies, with Africa, and I think with Europe.
Damn, you're doing like history homework.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Now, who are the Twin Cities?
The Twin Cities are Minneapolis and St. Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what are the Quad Cities?
Quad Cities, I'm going to
Quad
say...
cities are Davenport and Bettendorf in Iowa and Moline, Rock Island in Illinois.
Yep.
Oh, it's Illinois and
Yeah,
Iowa.
I was forgetting Moline. I didn't feel
It's a
proper
border.
saying
It is a specific area.
What even is a Hawkeye?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Super Chats. Thank you for that, Frank. Yeah, what is a Hawkeye? Also, shout out to Bettendorf. It used to be a hotbed of mixed martial arts with, Pat Miletich and the squad over there, Monty Cox. I mean, this is a whole other era.
Quad cities, by the way,
Yes,
bit of
thank
a misnomer. Actually, 5 cities included in the Quad
Oh,
cities.
what's the fifth?
Oh, so it's the
we
Queen
also have
cities.
East Moline. I hope I'm pronouncing that
Moline?
right. Moline. Tomato.
I think it's like the song Moline.
I remember
Moline.
Frank's sending a message here.
No,
Yes.
it is, and it's written about the Quad Cities.
I just wanted to finish the lineup for tomorrow if I can. Corey Sanhagen is going to join us,
Oh,
so
can't
looking
wait.
forward to that. What a guy. Always love those chats. We're going to have some breaking news. Can you say it's breaking news if it's 24 hours in advance? I don't know. Regarding a major combat sports promotion, so stay tuned for that. And extremely excited about this one. The man himself, the originator of the spear and the jackhammer, the one and only, the guy who had the longest winning streak in the history of professional wrestling, Bill freaking Goldberg. Also a product of the University of Georgia.
Damn right. Are you getting him on to talk NCAA tournament? Our first appearance in 10 years.
Is that really it? Is
Yeah.
it? Wow. Holy crap. I didn't realize that. Yep. He's a fellow dog. He's a fellow Falcon as well. Shout out to Murundi. Had
Big
a cup
Bill
of coffee.
Goldberg fan.
Yeah, the man. He'll be joining us tomorrow. Very much looking forward to that. I wonder if he'll have a thought or two on the John Cena heel turn. Could we pipe in some Goldberg? They used to pipe that
I think
in.
we're just going to do it.
We're just gonna
All
do
of
it.
us will get on mic and do it.
And of course, a fellow MOT, if you know what I'm saying. I do believe we have some super chats before we go, Frankie.
We do.
We only have 60 seconds. Hard out there. 3:30. Come on, hurry up.
Already doing it.
Oh, sorry.
Love Quinn writes, since Frank can't be bothered to filter these, bing, bop, boom,
Wow.
boom, boom, bop, bam.
Yep. No, that's accurate. Thank you. Appreciate that.
I wanted to point out
Bing, bang,
yesterday
boom,
that
boom, boom.
they were like, didn't Ariel give Frank shit for filtering these before? So I just want to know.
Yeah.
Let the chat know. I see you. I appreciate you. Mason Bickner writes, St. Pete's Day, driving the cats out.
Wow.
Very
that,
clever.
Is that because of the snakes?
Because of, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Sleeto says, just watch the Hagler Hearns. Meh, prefer Rose Carla too.
By the way, I like how you refer to it as the Hagler
The
Hearns.
Hagler Hearns.
Did he watch the MMA too?
The St. Pete's Day just got to me. That was great.
What else?
Ben Hatch says, boys in the back appearance, Orlando PFL round 1.
Wow.
Ariel invited.
Okay, now
Ariel, you want to come?
Now you're just mocking me with this shit. All right. First of all, I mean, come on. You're
Do you
picking
wanna
the
go,
worst
or-
card of all time.
Orlando? We could go
although
to Disney World too.
No, Universal Studios. That's where it's at.
Wow.
I haven't been in
Hot
a while.
take. Universal over
No.
Disney.
No. The card is happening on the lot.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's happening on the lot.
Why are they doing
It's on a freaking soundstage at Universal Studios, circa WCW 1996 era. What else?
Honestly, the content could be pretty good.
the final super chat. There won't be any more after this. Is from Jake from Windy City. Ariel, I agree with you. As much as I loved Inside the NBA, it has run its course for me. So much hate now. UEFA Champions League with Micah, Jamie, Terry, and Kate on CBS has surpassed them now. How do you... UEFA?
It's close.
Yeah, let's all just take turns laughing at the fact I've never heard that.
Why is this the last one?
It's the last one for the day because you're always like, is there more? And I'm like,
oh, gotcha. I thought you said last one of the week.
No, man.
And I appreciate Jake. Come on, guys. Has Inside the NBA jumped the shark? I mean, what's going on over there? Last week, a whole controversy. Shaquille O'Neal talking about the Pistons. Gives credit to Chauncey Billups for their resurgence. Chauncey's the coach of the Trailblazers. JB Bickerstaff, former Cavs coach.
Yeah, shout out JB.
Coach of the Pistons. And then as I think it was Candace Parker, who I think does a great job. Because
she's fantastic, by the way.
Yeah, this was on the Tuesday edition. I pay attention to all of this. Says he doesn't coach them. He coaches the Blazers. He's like, I don't watch the Pistons. Like, what? What are you talking about? Now, we all kind of assume that they don't watch. And I always kind of find it weird that they make them do the college basketball stuff, on Turner and CBS. You can't tell me those guys are watching college basketball all year round. I mean, there's no way. You can kind of tell.
But Chuck is actually watching it for the first time when the tournament starts.
I don't watch. Look, I can't say I'm like a every night with Inside the NBA, but I'm not watching for Shaq's analysis of the Pistons.
I used to sometimes tune in just for the post show or just for the halftime.
But you're tuning in for the vibes, right? You're not tuning in for them to really break
feel
down
like
the game.
The vibes are negative. The vibes are
negative aura.
You don't think so? I
don't have the foggiest. I don't watch it at all. I only watch Hawks local broadcasts.
The vibes are not as. They're always complaining about the Knicks. They're always shitting. They're picking fights. They keep talking. No. They keep talking. They keep talking about bowl for some reason. Like throughout the NBA All-Star Weekend.
Pacers bowl?
No, they kept talking about bowl over Wemby.
It was because there was like this internet debate that Bobo is as good as Wemby, but he just didn't get a shot.
Enough already. He kept bringing him up.
Oh, it's so great.
Now I will say this. They're infinitely better than the ESPN
that's
halftime and post because ESPN does it in 30 seconds, like 30-second intervals. Like you can't even watch it. It's just commercials.
There are no good shoulder programming things for basketball outside of that. So it is the best. It is still the best because there's nothing else.
I am looking forward to next year. Clean slate, NBC. Hopefully it's the Prudential halftime report. We're talking about Dirk Nowitzki, Blake Griffin, some new young voices. Melo, can't wait for that. Melo's third act has been unbelievable. I mean, even yesterday, he's bringing in. No one on the Knicks had any balls to stick up to Draymond Green and defend their guy Cat. And it's Melo bringing him in after the game, being like, "Don't forget who you are." Now I don't know exactly what he said, but the visual was great. I love this version of Melo here. Dad, ambassador. FIBA ambassador. Love this version of him. I think he's going to be great on NBC. I'm looking forward to. I just want a fresh, clean slate. I'm tired of the same old.
You mentioned Candace Parker. She's fantastic.
She is great.
She is great. Really good.
Iron Eagle, no Eagle. We know we love the Eagles.
The greatest. The goats.
Dwayne Wade was great. Like we just
Wade is also
blood.
very good.
All right, so Inside the NBA is dead.
No, but they're going to ESPN.
We're killing off Ernie.
No, I love Ernie. No, Ernie's the GOAT. Ernie's the best.
I feel like it was like 6 months. I feel like it was 6 months ago. This was like the untouchable show.
They're still our uncles.
They've jumped the shark.
They're still our. Nah. I'm not ready to go there.
Shark,
I'm not ready to go there.
What's the difference?
It's the shark.
Flip the switch.
By the way, can I tell you guys something?
It is flip the switch. Yeah.
You guys will love this. Yesterday, I'm watching Knicks and Heat with my boys who their love of basketball makes me so happy. And my son, his name is Walter. I got him a Walt Frazier jersey for his birthday last month. Anyway, throughout Knicks games, like usually in the third quarter, they'll have like Clyde's magical moments presented by Puma. He's a Puma ambassador. And it was a highlight of, I think, like the 1975 playoffs, Knicks Bullets, I think. And the highlight was very underwhelming. It was him making a layup and then shooting a free throw. And I'm like, guys, look at this. And I rewind it. I'm like, look at the form. Look how pure it was. No 3-point line. Look at the fundamentals. This and that. And they're like, this is so boring. They're like, this is what my my 2 kids were saying about me, look at this guy. Look at this guy. He thinks he's Unk status. He wasn't even born. He wasn't even born for this game, and he thinks he's Unk. You're not the Unk. And I'm like, what did you just say to me? Calling me Unk, thinking that I'm Unk status? They said this about me. They're saying, look at this guy, about their dad. They're talking amongst each other.
You.
Yes.
They were flaming you. Yeah.
They're talking about me like I'm some guy on the corner of the street. Look at this guy.
Yeah, they hit you with the Unk
Thinks he's Unk status.
No, you're not even good enough for Unk
status.
That's
what they're saying. You're not even good enough.
I was hitting them with the look at the game back then, 1975. Like, you weren't even born.
Can we actually talk about how
you weren't even born?
How trash to take it is to try and pretend that basketball was good.
It was
that
so
was
good.
Bad basketball.
It was so good. So good. I love it.
That shit was ass.
It was amazing.
Be real.
Straight garbage. Me and Connor are about to call you. We're about to roast you as bad as
they're wearing like the high top Pumas. They got the shorts.
Don't need it.
Layups.
Don't need it.
Yo,
don't need it.
I was watching.
There's no nostalgia. It's just bad.
Wemby would average like 38 points. Luka would average 42 points, 15 assists, and 97 rebounds a game in that.
When do I get to be Unk status?
You gotta earn it, man. I mean,
like, is there an age?
When when you are actually referencing grainy video that you were alive for, you're Unk.
So if I talk about like the 1983 NBA Finals,
I think real Unk status comes in like another like 10, 15 years when you're looking back on old UFC highlights. You're like,
have I reached Unk status in MMA or not yet?
The fact that your own sons,
you have to ask. It's not.
The fact that your own sons won't call you Unk it's tough. It's tough.
I'm not sure Unk is good though. I feel like you don't want to be Unk, but now they're saying you're not even good enough to not be
I feel like early 30s you don't want to be Unk. 40s is cool to be Unk.
Yeah, I like it. I have to say, Sugar Sean and Timbo, they call me Unk. They call me Uncle Ariel. Like, they're like, yo, Uncle Ariel. And I kind of like it.
Yes, they're
the only 2 that do it.
No, but now you're certified. If Sean O'Malley's saying you're Unk, you're Unk. So we don't have to ask. Yeah, you're MMA Unk.
All right.
You're in there.
I feel like that's a new show idea.
MMA
Unk status?
The MMA Unk, and it's just you.
Like, if I talk about, I was there when Gunnar Nelson fought Zach Cummings at the 3 Arena.
Y'all what is Unk talking about right now?
Yeah.
What is Unk talking about right now? That's what we'd say.
Pilot this with the boys.
Yeah.
See what their reaction is, and then we'll know if it's Unk or not Unk.
How about Gunnar Nelson, man? Man, a few words.
No nonsense.
So much spoken in those few words. And the biggest
he was probably respecting the heart out, so he was like,
He
"Look,
was.
I don't want to be long-winded."
Yeah.
Biggest
like, I know
pop
what
you
they
got
do on the
from
back
him
end.
was Irish potatoes versus Croatian potatoes.
Yeah.
The smile, he just exploded.
He loved
You asked him about his dad with New Year's Eve. He's just like,
Yep.
Same house,
That's us.
same picture.
Last thing I'll say about the kids, because they are always on YouTube. That's all they watch. I was like, by the way, do you guys even subscribe to my channel?
Oh God.
Damn. Now, do they have their own accounts or is it on your account?
Nah, they have their own.
Oh boy.
There was a period where they were uploading random stuff like Roblox and Minecraft.
They got to subscribe.
Can I tell you one last thing? I don't know if I should say this on the show. We were talking about this. We were talking about this on Friday. I don't know how it came up. And my son, he's 11. He just turned 11. And he said something to the effect of, what were we talking about? We were talking about like information. Oh, I was trying to tell, I think it was my daughter about like, oh yes, okay, this is it. This is the story. So apparently there was an accusation that like one friend told my daughter something and then she told the other people the story that the friend told her,
Never
right?
good. Telephones.
And I'm like, you got to be a vault. Like in my career, I'm a vault. I'm a vault. I keep things. That's why I'm still around. People trust me with information and things like that. And I swear to God, my son Walter, the 11-year-old, says, "Oh yeah, but what about UFC 300 something? Alex Pereira, you leaked the news." I was like, "What? What did you say?"
What?
Yeah. He said you leaked the news, right? You leaked the news. Dana White got mad at you. I was like, "Oh man, we're gonna have this.
Oh
is it.
my
This is the
God.
moment. This is the moment that Dana talked about when he was talking to Matt Serra in
Yes.
2016. This is the moment. They get fed this stuff. I was like, I'm not. Explain to me how you got to this." He said he
Saw
searched
TikTok.
No, he searched his name on YouTube. So he searched his name on YouTube. Why, I don't know. And then this comes up, and
Searched
I'm like,
his own name?
Yeah, search his own name. Search
What
Walter
came up?
Helwani.
Who was the messenger on telling the story?
He wouldn't tell me because then he started to get afraid that I was going to take away the iPad, which I did, which I did threaten. But I was trying to explain to him, like, you're watching people talk about me, and this will happen more often. just come to me. How long have you been sitting on this information? And he doesn't even understand. He's saying Alex Pereira, UFC 300.
Yeah, he's got it all wrong.
He's got it all wrong, but he's got something there. He's like, oh, I saw it a few months ago. And then the tricky part is like I could feel like he was getting defensive because his eyes started watering. Like when you kind of try to like get something and they can see that you're feeling some sort of way. I hit him with the I'm disappointed, not upset. That one always tends to work. And I just said, just come to me because you're going on YouTube. Any jabroni out there could post anything, and we're in a situation where they could post something about me, and you're going to see it and you're going to think some sort of way. Just ask me, and I'll tell you the truth. I'll tell you if it was good. I'll tell you if it's bad. I'll tell you the whole story about what happened here, how I did nothing wrong, how it was misconstrued, yada, yada, yada. Just come to me. But it's what's scary about it is they're now in this era, and this is part of the reason why my 13-year-old doesn't have a phone, because they could just go up there and read anything and not know what's right, what's wrong.
Okay, important question now.
It's a scary thing.
Are you going to proactively start telling the stories so that they don't find them and then have the wrong information?
No.
You're just going to let it go? Like, no interest in just
I'm not going to say, let me sit you down and tell you about the time that Brendan Schaub and I went back and forth.
All right.
Like, no, it's...
I feel like that timeline's dangerous. They're going to be on that TikTok and all of a sudden they're going to find something.
It's a scary thing.
If you YouTube his name, that is some of the stuff that comes up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Brendan Schaub, Ariel, is one of the best UFC journalists. Habib Nurmagomedov teaches loyalty to Ariel Helwani.
Yeah.
Why Dana White hates Ariel Helwani.
Yeah,
that's probably the one.
Ariel Helwani disses Brendan Schaub.
Let's upload some more positive stuff, guys. All right.
Let's just start tagging Walter Helwani and all the positive videos.
Yeah, please. The kids are watching out there. All right.
No, clearly not. They don't subscribe, so they're getting it from other people.
Well, they're getting it. I mean, if you just put the algorithm, it's
the algo's serving them.
It's feeding it. So anyway, there you have it. There's the story of my life. We have to go. We have to get ready for a show. Last week I went way too long. Everyone got mad at me. And am I okay here? Is this a sweet spot, or is this still a little bit too long?
You should just stay in the chair so we can just go right into the next one.
Unk Ariel. I kind of like it. I think 40 to 50, you're kind of happy about being the grizzled veteran. 50, you start to get in your feelings about being too old.
Nah, hell no.
No,
I feel like
60?
You get progressively less. Like, by 50, I'm not going to give a shit about anything. By 60, like, I'm just going to be, like, living the best life possible. I don't care at that point. What do you have to protect at that point? There's no ego.
All right, fair. Unkwani is a good one.
Apparently, Rick has a new nickname, according to the chat. It's New York Sick.
Wow.
Got him. Never been sick, so how could that be my nickname?
He says through clogged nostrils.
No, it's not a clogged nostril.
The sniffles.
Whatever, it's something, but it's not sick. Never been sick. It's a thing.
Jason Carney asks via the super chat, Ariel, are you working the MVP Netflix card in July? No.
It's pretty sure it's like that's the last super chat. No more super chat.
Well, it came through. Why no? Because Carl Froch said I shouldn't. And
Hey, Carl! Good to see you!
Oh, I saw the Happy Gilmore 2
You
trailer.
don't get to watch that. Not until you watch the Adam Sandler special are you allowed to watch any other Adam Sandler movie.
Fair enough. Thank you to all our guests today. Thank you very much, Gunnar Nelson, Jalin Turner, Morgan Charriere. We'll be back in a little over an hour over on the DAZN Boxing YouTube channel. For now, back tomorrow, same time, places. Peace. Right here.